Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 2TOFL. 493 Chapter 9. New Powers, New Friendships. Chapter 9. New Powers, New Friendships. Here's the last chapter of the day. Readers, enjoy, and once more, stay safe. You heard me. Move, the man said again. Don't make me repeat myself. The man with the crew cut stepped forward and extended his hand, blocking the other man. Just wait a minute there, Mars. Look at them, he said. They're all magic knights, and by the color of those robes, they're part of the Golden Dawn. I hear they're supposed to be the strongest magic knights squad in the Clover Kingdom. Klaus gritted his teeth and looked down at their plant mage. Mimosa, are you going to be alright? She weakly nodded. Yeah, I'll be fine, I just need to rest in one of my spells. Her grimoire came out to her. Plant recovery magic. Dream healing flower cradle, she said as vines gathered around her and turned into a spherical cradle. She was immersed in flower petals from the torso down. Please forgive me, Klaus, Latois, I won't be of much use to you right now, Mimosa apologized. I'm supposed to be our healer, but instead, I'm the one who needs healing. Don't worry, Mimosa. Just focus on recovering. We won't let them past us, Klaus responded, before turning to the two mysterious mages. Just who are you anyway, and how dare you attack someone behind their back? Don't you have any honor? The man beside Mars slightly walked up. Honor. To hell with that. If anything, it's her fault for not sensing and reacting to the spell quick enough, he replied. And as for who we are, my name is Andreas, and the person beside me is Mars, mages of the Diamond Kingdom. Klaus, expression tensed. Damn it, so the Diamond Kingdom was already here, and we just led them to the treasure. Andreas shrugged. Doesn't really matter, we would have found the treasure eventually, you just made it a bit faster, but there's something I want to know, he said. Is it true, in the Clover Kingdom, are the Golden Dawn really the strongest magic knight squad? That's right, we are the strongest, and you'll soon regret attacking one of our own, Klaus replied. But to the Steel Mage's surprise, Andreas gave a nearly sadistic grin. Regret? Why would I regret it? I've been looking for strong obstacles to defeat, and if you're the strongest, you'll all do quite nicely, he said, taking out his grimoire. He turned to Mars. Aren't you going to take out your grimoire? Mars made no eye contact with his associate. You know that won't be necessary, Andreas. The question is, why are you taking out your grimoire? Do you think you'll need it? Not really, but as much as I enjoy destroying the obstacles in front of me, we were given a mission, we will complete it quickly and efficiently, so we have to eliminate them first, Andreas replied. I'm fine, just worry about taking out those magic knights, Mars said with an emotionless tone. Okay then, time to begin, Andreas said, advancing to the golden trio. Let's see how long you'll last. Impact magic. Double impact. He exclaimed as he performed a sequence of hand gestures, unleashing a devastating wave of force, heading towards the three magic knights. Impact magic. Muttered, never hearing of such an attribute. I'd be careful if I were you. If that spell hits you, it's going to hurt, Andreas said. Don't worry, I got this, Latois said, taking out her grimoire. That spell will hurt if it hits us right, then I'll just stop that from happening. Compass magic. Willful compass. She exclaimed, causing a large green compass to appear. As the wave drew closer, the needle on the compass turned left, making the wave turn left, completely missing her and her fellow squadmates, but as it hit its new target, the area had been nearly obliterated. A drop of sweat fell down the side of Yuno's head. Holy crap, the force of that spell is ridiculous. What would have happened if that actually hit us, he thought. Nice work, Latois, but since he uses impact magic, that means the one who struck down Mimosa was that Mars boy, Klaus pointed out. You stopped my double impact, or rather, you merely redirected it. I wonder how that spell would do against a melee attack, Andreas said as he charged at her. Impact magic. Shockwave fist. He exclaimed, his fist being imbued with magic power. That speed, it's unreal. I don't think I can dodge it in, Latois thought, but was interrupted midway as the attack made contact, right in her stomach. A strong shockwave soon followed that punch, sending the compass mage to the ground. There we go. It seems your defense is garbage against attacks that are close up. Hopefully, those teammates of yours will do better, the impact mage said. Get away from her, exclaimed as he launched an arc of wind at Andreas. Andreas merely jumped out of the way. It seems like someone is angry. All right then, bring it on, I'll take you out next. Klaus ran over to Latois and kneeled down to her. Are you all right? Will you be able to stand? To his relief, she sat up. That one really hurt, but it isn't enough to keep me down, she replied. That's a relief, Klaus said, turning to Yuno. Latois has the best defense out of all of us. She and I will fight Andreas, you'll fight Mars. We don't know his potential though, can you do it? It won't be a problem, Yuno replied as wind surrounded him and he floated in the air before speeding towards Mars. So you two want to take me on? Fine by me, I'm the lucky one who gets to take out two opponents, Andreas said. Hey Mars, that wind guy is after you, I think you might want to do something. Yeah, I'm already on it, Mars replied nonchalantly as he extended his hand, sending shards of crystal towards Yuno. The mage quickly maneuvered around all the shards that came his way. My turn to go on the offensive, wind magic, crescent moon sickle. He exclaimed, using both of his hands to fire off two powerful crescent-shaped slashes of wind at the mage, much stronger than his previous ones. Mars, however, stood still, not even changing his facial expression, as if he didn't see the approaching spell as a threat. Is that it? Mineral creation magic. Talos doll, he said as a doll made of crystal appeared in front of him. The doll was in his likeness, it raised one hand, completely blocking the two attacks. Damn it, that thing looks strong, but how did he cast a spell like that without his grimoire? Well, whatever reason it is, I'll need to use an attack that it can't defend with its hand, Yuno decided to himself, looking through his grimoire's pages. As it stopped on a page, a small smile creased his face. This should do it, wind magic, towering tornado. He exclaimed, sending a large tornado at the doll. As before, the doll tried to protect Mars, but as the tornado drew close, it was quickly sucked in before being launched out, crashing into a nearby wall. The range and effectiveness of that spell can be troublesome, Mars said, running out of the way of the tornado. It appears I'll have to try a little. Fine then, mineral magic. Nemean armor, Mars said as an armor made of crystal covered his chest, arms, shoulders, and legs. This will do better against those wind spells of yours, so show me what you're made of. Meanwhile, with Klaus and Latois, they were doing their best to fend off Andreas, but he was proving to be quite the formidable foe. You two aren't doing too bad, but to be honest, you're starting to get boring. Maybe Mars was right, I should have just fought without my grimoire, Andreas taunted. Klaus gritted his teeth. This isn't good. Latois and I have each taken a role. I focus on offense while she focuses on defense, but it isn't working very well, and to add to that, he has both long range and close-up attack capabilities, he thought. Quiet. Don't you dare mock us, we are the Golden Dawn, the Clover Kingdom's best, Latois spoke up, but with a more stern tone. Oh, it's the defense lady, sorry, you may say how your little squad might be the strongest, but I'm not really seeing it, Andreas said back with a stoic expression as Latois gritted her teeth as well. The impact mage's face maintained its stoic look. Oh, I'm sorry, did I make you mad? What are you going to do? Cast another compass shield of yours and hope I decide to attack from here. I might be good at defense, but I can also do offense as well, the compass mage said, summoning a multitude of large compass needles, sending them straight at the impact mage. Not bad, but not bad isn't good enough, Andreas said as he jumped into the air, the needles completely missing. Please tell me you have something more impressive. As a matter of fact, I do, we'll see how much you talk after this, compass magic, useless north. Latois exclaimed as a green sphere appeared beside her. Within it was a large suspended compass needle. She pointed at Andreas as the sphere disappeared and the needle raced towards Andreas. What? That's the best you can do. Just one needle. What a disappointment, he said as he jumped once more, evading the needle. Latois cracked a small smirk. Oh, it's not as easy as you think. Why don't you take a look behind you, she said as Andreas did so, and his eyes widened as he saw the needle coming right at him. He quickly dodged it again. What? But I dodged it. You did, but that doesn't really matter. You see, my useless north may produce only one needle, but it will pursue you until it hits you, she explained. Awesome work, Latois, I know you and Klaus can beat him. Mimosa exclaimed in an attempt to cheer for her squadmates. Latois turned to her. Thanks, Mimosa, but don't worry about cheering us on, all you have to worry about is getting better, she said before then turning to the steel mage. Klaus, my useless north has turned the tables, for now, we have to use this as a chance to increase our offensive. Klaus nodded. Yes, you're right, we can't waste this opportunity. Steel creation magic, spiral lance. He exclaimed, sending lances towards Andreas as well. Damn it, damn it, damn it, I won't be forced on the defensive, Andreas said, doing his best to evade the ever-pursuing needle. The only way to lose is to destroy it, which, fortunately for me, is in my, he said, before stopping as he saw the spinning lances approach him. Andreas sucked his teeth. Shit, now those things are coming for me. Wait, maybe I can use them to take out the needle, I can get close enough and jump at the last second, that should do the try, he thought, but was stopped as he felt something pierce the back of his shoulder. He felt a large amount of pain before seeing that the needle had hit him. While he was thinking, he had involuntarily slowed himself down, allowing the needle to catch up to him. The lances got closer, but Andreas was able to dodge them. He then pulled the needle out, letting the blood drip on his fur coat. Andreas then began to grit his teeth. Okay, Now you two have really pissed me off. This won't stop me. I'm going to destroy you both, he threatened furiously. You, pissed off? Give me a break. The two of us get pissed off whenever we hear that annoying voice of yours. Maybe you should try shutting up. It would make you a lot more bearable, Latois mocked him. That's it. Now you're really dead, Andreas said as he charged at them. Impact magic. Heavy rotating kick. He exclaimed as he raised one leg into the air. As it was in the air, magic was imbued into it, causing it to glow. He spun around and prepared to attack Latois. You're not getting her this time, Klaus exclaimed as he quickly ran in front of his squadmate. Steel creation magic. Full metal fortress. He crouched and placed his hands on the ground, immediately forming a wall of steel between him and Andreas, the impact mage hitting the wall instead of his intended target. You blocked my attack, but I'm pretty sure it put a dent in that shield of yours. Let's see if you can block another one, Andreas stated, using the momentum created by his kick to spin himself around and enhance the force of his next spell. Impact magic. Heavy fist frenzy. Both of his hands became imbued with magic and he released a barrage of punches at the wall. Crap, my wall won't last long, and he's too close for me to cast another wall, Klaus muttered, but to his utter surprise, his wall broke, a lot sooner than he thought it would. The kick from before had done more damage than originally anticipated. It appears that that spell of yours has been taken out of the equation, but my frenzy hasn't. Andreas exclaimed as his barrage of punches made contact with Klaus, sending the mage flying before hitting the ground. Klaus, Latois screamed. Don't worry about him. Your turn is coming up soon, Andreas said to her as he raised his fist. Stay back, she said, quickly backing up and sending a group of needles at him. These again, Andreas said as he too backed up. I wonder how Mars is doing. Meanwhile, with Yuno, he and Mars were at a stalemate. The wind mage had tried to stick to his long-range attacks, but after equipping the crystal armor, the mineral mage now had an effective defense, but at the cost of his mobility, seeing that the weight of the armor still affected him. Take this, wind magic. Swift white bow. Yuno exclaimed as a bow of wind came to his hand. As he pulled on the bowstring, 4 arrows of wind appeared. He then released it at his opponent. That won't be enough to stop me. Mineral creation magic. Harp, he said as 4 small blades appeared. Those blades then launched towards the arrows, spinning as they did so, cutting through each one and heading straight for Yuno, but luckily, he was able to evade them. Damn, he got through that spell too. If I want to beat him, I have to use something more powerful, but first, I should regroup with Klaus and Latois, he said to himself, turning around, his eyes slightly widened to see Klaus on the ground. As for Latois, she was using her needles to keep Andreas at bay. You shouldn't look away from your opponent, Mars said from behind Yuno. As he turned around, he just barely managed to dodge the shards sent after him. He quickly flew over to his squadmate. You can't keep me at this distance forever. Once I get close enough, I'll take you down just like that other guy, and then the treasure will belong to the Diamond Kingdom, Andreas said. I wouldn't be so sure of that. Andreas looked up to see Yuno. He landed right next to Latois. Andreas chose to back up more as Mars approached him. Yuno turned to Latois. How's Klaus? He asked. I'm okay. The 2 Golden Dawns turned behind them to see Klaus slowly walk over to them. It was easy to see he was struggling. We need to take these 2 down quickly. That's just what I was planning to do, Yuno told him. I need to attack with something more serious. I'm finishing this fight right now. He exclaimed as green mana exuded from him, lighting almost the whole room. Latois' eyes widened. I'm sensing a lot of mana coming from him. Whatever he's going to do, it's going to be strong, she thought. The impact mage shared her thoughts. I'm picking up a ton of mana from that wind guy. Something tells me he's going to do something big, he told Mars. Don't worry, the mineral mage said back. I'll handle this. Prepare yourselves, mages of the Diamond Kingdom, witness the power of the Golden Dawn, Yuno said as his spell took shape, surprising Klaus, Latois, and Mimosa. Here we go. No turning back. Wind creation magic. Swift white hawk plus wind blade shower. He exclaimed as a white hawk made of wind appeared. Under it was a multitude of knife-shaped blades made out of wind. Holy shit. He just cast 2 different spells at the same time. A double spell. Combine that with the fact that he has a 4-leaf clover grimoire. I think we just won, Klaus thought as he saw the spells charge towards their targets. I'll admit, that's a pretty impressive feat you pulled, but, Mars began to say as he took out his grimoire. Mineral creation magic, he then thought. The 2 spells were just about to make contact. Even Andreas was getting a little worried. Levadine. Yuno's eyes widened as he saw a large sword made of crystal appear above the mineral mage. He saw how it completely and effortlessly cut through his double spell. Impressive doesn't make it impossible to stop, Mars finished saying. No. Way. Yuno muttered as he fell to his knees. He had already used up a good amount of mana fighting Mars earlier. Casting that double spell spent whatever was left. What? Even the double spell wasn't powerful enough to take them out. Just who are these guys? Latois muttered. I must confess, Mars, you had me worried there, Andreas said. I bet you would have taken him out sooner if you used your grimoire. Mars seemingly ignored him, but Andreas wasn't bothered. They then looked over at Yuno on the ground. This fight is over. No, it isn't, Yuno said as he tried to pick himself up. I won't give up. I'll fight to the very end. If I didn't, an image of Asta flashed in his mind. I couldn't call myself his rival. Rival? I don't know who the hell are you talking about, but this fight has come to an end, Mars said as Levadine quickly descended on the Wind Mage. Who is he talking about? I'll tell you who, a voice said, before anybody could even wonder where it came from. Their eyes widened as the large crystal sword broke into two. Their eyes widened even more as they saw Asta, his sword drawn, standing right in front of Yuno. Quote. He's talking about me, Asta exclaimed. Asta, Yuno said before cracking a small grin. Well, so much for repaying my debt to you. That black bull is here, Klaus said. Not just him, a voice exclaimed. Everyone looked up to see Luck, Noel, and Kenos jump out from the entrance. Reinforcements have arrived, Asta exclaimed before getting a better look at Mars and Andreas. And who are these two weirdos? Their names are Andreas and Mars, mages of the Diamond Kingdom, Latois explained. So it wasn't just that smoke mage that was here, Noel realized. Great, I was looking for someone else to fight, and I'm sensing strong mana from these two, Luck said with a grin. Yuno, you look tired, rest up, leave these guys to us for now, Asta told him. Yuno reluctantly nodded. All right then, he said as Luck helped him up and brought him to the others. Noel turned and saw her cousin in one of her spells. Mimosa, are you all right? Her cousin weakly smiled. I'll be okay, you don't need to worry about me. Okay then, and you don't need to worry either, because I'm going to protect you, she said as her grimoire came to her. Water creation magic. Sea Dragon's Lair. A barrier of water appeared over Mimosa with dragons of water revolving around it. Kenos walked over to the compass mage. Latois, right, is anybody hurt? She nodded. Yeah, Klaus and I have sustained some wounds, but Klaus are worse, and Yuno is running low on mana. I see, can you keep fighting? Kenos asked again. Yeah, I'll be just fine, I can keep going, she replied. That's good, the solar mage as he walked to Klaus and Yuno, they were staying close to Noel, both sitting down, Kenos went to them and kneeled down, touching each of them with his hand. Solar recovery magic. Healing rays of the dawn, he said as Klaus and Yuno began glowing. I know we may be competing with each other right now, but with the Diamond Kingdom here, we're going to have to take care of them first, he told them, looking at Klaus and then Yuno, who gave him a glare before turning his head away. Okay, it's just us for now, Luck, and Glasses Girl, Asta said as the two came to his side. My name is Latois, she corrected. Oops, my bad, sorry, he apologized. Andreas looked at the two black bulls. Things just got a little more interesting, it seems more obstacles have come, I guess we'll have to take them down as well before we get to the treasure, he said. We won't waste any more time, mineral creation magic. Talos doll swarm, he said as multiple dolls from before appeared. Destroy every last one of them. Crap, we just got outnumbered, Asta muttered. But we won't give up. Let's go, he exclaimed as he and the other two charged at their opponents. There are so many enemies to fight, this is awesome. Luck exclaimed, equipping his boots and gloves, punching and kicking every doll in his way. Lightning magic. Thunderbolt destruction. He then proceeded to shoot the orbs at the dolls out of his reach. Asta ran through a horde of them, cutting down each doll one by one, but as he did, he noticed something about the two diamond mages. That's strange, they aren't attacking us, or doing anything, he realized. Hey, you two, what are doing just standing there, are you scared of us or something? Andreas chuckled. Don't make me laugh, why would I be scared of you people, I just don't want those doll things to get in my way, but Mars over here doesn't feel like wasting time, he replied. If these dolls are what you're worried about, Luck began, standing on one of them, Asta turned and saw he and Latois defeated the swarm. You won't have to worry anymore, now let's fight, I wanna take you on first. Andreas grinned at the lightning mage. Ooh, I like you, sure, let's fight, we'll see how long you'll last. Latois quickly approached him. Luck, let me join you, we'll have a better chance if we work together, my spells have a good effect on him. Luck took a look at her. Sure, just make sure you don't slow me down, even though you're a member of the Golden Dawn, give it everything you got. The green-haired mage pushed up her glasses. I don't need you to tell me that, she said as they charged at the impact mage. If they're taking on that guy, then you're mine. Asta exclaimed, running towards Mars. You won't get any further, Mars said as he summoned another cluster of Talos dolls. More of these, fine then, I'll bust my way through them all, you won't beat us. Asta exclaimed as he charged at the dolls. Let's see what you two are made of, Andreas said as he sped over to Luck. Ooh, you're fast, Luck giggled before dodging. But I'm faster. We'll see about that, the impact mage said back, quickly approaching him, but backed up as Latois shot needles at him. Don't forget about me, Luck exclaimed as he launched a quick side kick into Andreas' side, quickly following up with a punch that sent his opponent into the air. That was a good attack, now it's my turn, impact magic, heavy body tackle. He exclaimed, spinning his body midair before coming down with tremendous force. Luck crossed his arms together and took the impact of the blow, creating a small crater underneath him. The lightning mage could feel the pain in his arms, but his stance remained steadfast. Get away from him, Latois said, sending more needles at him. Andreas in turn jumped in the air to avoid them, ending his struggle with Luck. Now this is getting interesting. Impact magic. Double impact. He exclaimed, launching the wave of force in midair towards Luck. I already know how to get around this spell, compass magic, willful compass. Latois exclaimed, creating a shield above Luck, redirecting the attack. Thanks, that spell of yours is pretty cool, Luck thanked her. You're welcome, but I'm not done yet, she said, creating another compass shield, once more redirecting the force. She then did it again. Andreas was visually confused. What are you doing? You're about to see right now. This thought just came to me, she replied, creating one more shield, redirecting the attack at Andreas. Time for you to get a taste of the power of your own spell, compass magic, willful compass, full deflection. Shit, Andreas yelled as his own wave of force hit him, sending him crashing into the wall. That was so cool, Latois, but we need some insurance, Luck said, blasting multiple orbs at him, causing him to fall down from the crater. He laid there unconscious. There, now he's down. I was hoping for more of a fight though. I guess you guys wore him out pretty good. Meanwhile, with Asta, he continued to cut down the swarm of crystal dolls, but Mars kept sending more and more at him. He was becoming quickly overwhelmed. You look like you could use some help, two voices from behind him said. His eyes widened as needles and orbs came from behind him, crashing into the swarm. He turned to see Latois and Luck. Cool, you two beat that guy so quickly, he said. True, but he was already worn out to an extent beforehand, and Luck was pretty useful, Latois responded. Yeah, and you should have seen the spell she used on that guy, sent his own attack right back at him, Luck added before turning to her. Say, why don't we have a fight after this? Latois was a bit caught off guard by that question. I'd rather not, we're both magic knights. Ah, no fair, he pouted. Well, I guess we can help Asta for now by destroying those dolls. He and Latois continued firing their respective projectile spells. Great, now all I have to do is get this guy, Asta said, as he walked to the mage. I'm not sensing any magic from him. How has he been able to defeat my swarm? Well, no matter. My Nemean armor is more than enough. It stopped that wind guy. Stopping him shouldn't be a prob, Mars thought, but was stopped midway as Asta then stood still and planted his foot on the ground. A crater formed under it as he zoomed to the mineral mage. Take this, he exclaimed, using his sword to launch Mars into the wall with tremendous force, surprising everyone there. The one who was probably most surprised by this was Klaus. How did he do that? Not even a double spell from Yuno could get close, and now that I think about, those two have been holding their own since they got here. Even with Latois' help, I couldn't get a single hit on either of them. How is it possible that a squad like the Black Bulls fight on par with the Golden Dawn? I told you not to underestimate Asta. He's no ordinary commoner, Yuno said to him. What? How? Kenos was the one to explain this time. Asta's sword is capable of negating magic on contact. In other words, anti-magic. Anti-magic? I've never heard of such a thing, Klaus said. Yes, combined with his hard work, he can fight on par with us despite not having any magic whatsoever, Kenos continued. This shocked Klaus even more. No magic. That's right, and Luck has been doing good too. I told you we'd prove you wrong. The Black Bulls aren't weak, Kenos said as Klaus gave a frustrated look. Klaus, you asked me why I joined the Black Bulls, right? That's right, he replied. Well, I joined for personal reasons, reasons that I don't really feel like sharing, but regardless, I know one thing. I don't regret joining this squad. The people might be a bit strange, but I enjoy being with them, and because of that, I won't let you badmouth them. You've seen firsthand that they're not as weak as you thought they were, the solar mage finished. Klaus didn't say another word. It was clear to see he was in thought. Meanwhile, Mars was laying in the crater. His armor had disappeared, and as he lay there, nearly about to fall unconscious, a faint memory flashed in his head. Flashback. Some years ago. The Diamond Kingdom. A young Mars walked into an empty hallway. He was dressed in a simple white tunic. He turned to his left to see a small barred window, only showing a little bit of the outside. Oh, Mars, there you are, a voice said, Mars turned to see a young girl, dressed in the same tunic. She had short, pink hair. Something told me you might have been here. What are you looking at? I was looking at this window, Mars replied as the girl walked over to him. Hey, do you ever wonder what it's like on the outside? I do. Ever since we were born, we never got to see the outside. I heard that it's beautiful, she replied with a smile. Will we ever get a chance to go outside? To see what the world has to offer? Mars asked again. The girl chuckled. You always ask so many questions, don't you? She said, causing Mars to blush. Ah, don't be embarrassed. I like it when you ask questions, your curiosity sparks my own. Thanks, but will we ever get to go outside? Mars repeated his question. The girl looked at the window. To go outside, we have to be strong enough to survive this place. If we're weak, then we're nothing more than pebbles on the ground, pebbles beneath the feet of the strong, she replied. But what if we're too weak? The girl took a hold of his hand. We won't be, we'll both be strong, then we can see the world together, okay? A small smile appeared on Mars' face. Okay, we'll do it together. Fana, he said. End flashback. I won't let myself be weak, Mars muttered. I have to be strong. His grimoire floated in front of him. Mineral creation magic. Titan's heavy armor. That should be the end of this battle, Keno said, taking his hand off of Yuno and Klaus. They then stopped glowing. There you go. My spell restored your mana as well as your physical condition. Mimosa also was released from her spell. And I'm back in fighting shape too, she turned to her cousin. Thank you for protecting me, Noelle. You're welcome. After all, we are family, she said back. The two Golden Dawn Knights got up. Well, I guess I must thank you for healing me, Klaus said. Yuno remained silent. No problem, but since this is the treasure room and the door hasn't opened yet, the competition isn't over, the solar mage reminded him, before stopping as they heard a rumbling sound coming from the crater where Mars was. But everyone's eyes widened as they saw Mars, his body covered in a colossal amount of crystals, with arms and legs, sharp crystals protruding from every direction. I'm not done yet, the mineral mage said as more swarms of Talos dolls suddenly appeared, blocking the others from Asta. Boy with the sword, it'll just be you and me. Asta got into his battle position. Fine by me. More dolls. How many can this guy cast anyways? Latois commented. Keno's put on his ring and activated it. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we take them down as soon as possible, he replied as his grimoire came to him, flipping through pages. It's my turn to get into the fight. Solar creation magic. Solar construct. Blade. A sword of sunlight appeared in his hand. All right, everyone, charge, he called as the five mages ran towards the swarm, Mimosa and Noelle staying behind. Meanwhile, with Asta and Mars, with his armor, Mars had a good defensive stance, and unlike Yuno, Asta could only fight at close range, making him prone to long-range attacks. We'll see how much better you can do against these compared to your windy friend over there, Mars said, firing shards at Asta. Is that it? Asta exclaimed, quickly slashing at the shards. I can do this all day. I don't know what's the deal with that sword, but it's somehow negating my spells. I have to find a way to get around it, Mars thought before an idea came to his head. There we go. Mineral creation magic. Harp, he said, sending only one blade at the swordsman. Only one blade. Don't you underestimate me, Asta exclaimed, charging to take the blade on. The second he did that, Mars cracked a small grin. Just as Asta was about to cut the blade, a large shadow loomed over him. He looked up and saw Mars, his armor ready to do a clap. I don't know too much about that sword, but one thing is obvious, it can't negate what it can't hit. The mineral mage exclaimed, clapping Asta between the hands of armor. Keno slashed through a doll. He looked beside him to see how Asta was doing. His eyes widened as Mars clapped him with his armor. The others turned to see the same thing. Asta! Everyone screamed. The hands of armor contracted, and they saw Asta, laying down, his sword a few inches from his hand, blood coming out from his forehead. As he, Noelle began muttering, hoping that her squadmate had not just been killed. Finally, I managed to take one of you down. Now it's time for the rest of you, Mars said. Not yet. The low sound of a voice surprised Mars. He was even more surprised as he saw Asta slowly grab his sword and get up, using it to aid him. His clothes were partially torn, leaving the entire right side of his torso exposed. Blood fell from his forehead. I said, not yet, I'm not giving up. He's alive, Keno said, utterly shocked. That attack would kill anybody else for sure, but somehow, Asta survived. He's incredible, the thought passed through everyone's minds. Mars gave him a frustrated look. Why won't you just die? I don't sense a drop of magic in you. You're weak, you're nothing more than a pebble on the ground. He exclaimed. I may be a pebble, but, Asta began as he positioned himself, and zoomed forwards. Soon, he was only a few inches away from Mars' face. Quote. I'm the pebble that shatters diamonds. He exclaimed furiously, slamming his sword into Mars' shoulder, destroying the armor and slamming him into the ground with a thud. Asta walked over to him and saw that he was unconscious. The dolls began shattering around them. Kenos looked at Asta. We did it. It's over. The threat of the Diamond Kingdom is no more. That's a relief, Klaus said. Asta, Luck, bring Andreas and Mars over here. We have to restrain them. The two of them did so. Klaus' grimoire came to him. You two gave us quite the fight, but not anymore. Steel binding magic. Ironclad coffin, he said, confiding the two in metal coffins. And that's the end of that, Asta smirked. Great job, everyone. Hey, Asta, are you sure you're okay? Noel asked with some concern. Yup, I'm all good, he replied. It's going to take more than that to beat me. I see, she said before her cheeks bloomed a light red. And, your shirt is torn, we can see your stomach. Kenos looked at Asta and was impressed by his physical physique. He had seen it before during their daily bath, but that still didn't change his mind. But then something else came to his mind. Why is Noel looking so flustered? There are other girls here, but they look fine. Heck, Noel should be fine since she's on our squad. She must have seen him shirtless a good amount of times. What a minute, could it be? Does she, like Asta? He thought. Those muscles of yours are ugly, Noel said to Asta, crossing her arms and turning her head away from him, her cheeks still rosy. Ugly? Asta asked in a comedic crestfallen tone. Kenos looked at the two of them before he turned his head away. A comedic indifferent look was on his face. The answer to his question was painfully obvious. Nah, he thought. I don't know too much about girls, but I'm pretty sure if they like someone, they'd compliment them on their good qualities. So, now that we won, how are we going to get inside? Yuno asked. I don't know, Klaus replied. My attack didn't work on it earlier. We know it has been reinforced through some kind of spell. This caught Asta's attention. Wait, if it's because of a spell, then I can just undo it. He took out his sword and pointed the tip at the door, gently tapping it. A minor shockwave was released as the door began to open itself. Once it was fully opened, the group looked inside and gasped. The room was loaded with shiny treasure, gold, and other things. Oh yeah, now that's what I call treasure. Asta exclaimed starry-eyed before remembering something. Oh, wait, which squad won the competition? Well, I guess it's a tie, Mimosa replied. We made it to the previous room first, but Asta was the one who opened the door. Kenos and Klaus sighed. Okay then, it's a tie. So, what do we do now? We found the treasure. Asta asked before feeling something land on his head. He looked up. Nero, where have you been? The bird got off his head and flew towards a door at the end of the room. What, is there something over there? Asta walked over to the door. Yuno also did some walking around. As for your question, Asta, now that we've found the treasure, I guess we should contact the capital or something, he replied before noticing a pedestal. On the pedestal, there was a scroll. What's this? He wondered as he picked up the scroll. He saw words on it. His grimoire then glowed before coming up to him. Flipping to a blank page, the words on the scroll then disappeared, appearing in the page. Well, we've completed our mission. Let's take those two diamond mages with us to the capital, Latois said before being cut off by the sounds of steps. Huh? The others asked, hearing steps too, coming from the entrance of the door. They looked to see who it was. As they did, their eyes widened in panic. Andreas and Mars. That's impossible. We defeated you and confined you. How are you here? Klaus exclaimed, but stopped as he then noticed that the two mages were covered in flames, one wing spawning on their sides. I didn't think you would have to make me use this, Mars said. We can still fight, thanks to my flame recovery magic, Phoenix Robe. Flame magic, but that's not your magical attribute. A mage can't have more than one, Klaus said. Well, as you can see, it's not impossible, not for the Diamond Kingdom at least, Andreas responded. The Diamond Kingdom, what a minute. The Steel Mage thought before noticing something. Even as they fought, he didn't take the time to notice their grimoires. They looked different from normal ones. They each had two distinct colors, and in between the colors were stitch marks, almost as if two grimoires were put together. I remember hearing something about the Diamond Kingdom, how they performed cruel experiments on their residents to create stronger mages. Is this the result of those experiments? Those guys are back, let's get them. Asta exclaimed as he saw the two, quickly drawing his sword and running towards the mages. Mars over here has mineral magic and flame magic. As for me, Andreas began as he raised a leg into the air. Behold, combo magic. Tempest heavy rotating kick. Instead of magic gathering, wind gathered in his leg as he made a kicking motion, firing a strong force of wind, hitting Asta, and sending him crashing into an entirely other room. I have combo magic as well. It allows me to imbue an element into my impact magic to make it stronger. This isn't good. Noelle muttered, but then she noticed that Andreas and Mars were still covered in the Phoenix robe spell. That spell is still healing them. Its attribute is flame. Maybe if I use my water magic, I should be able to extinguish it, she thought, pointing her wand at them. Mars quickly caught on to her plan. Nice try, but no, he said as he cast his Titan armor spell, quickly firing off crystals at her, slicing at her, sending her to the ground. Noelle, Mimosa exclaimed, running to her cousin. She knelt down and inspected her injuries. Oh no, these are bad. She'll die of blood loss if she isn't treated right away. I'm going to have to use my best healing spell, she thought as her grimoire flipped to a page. Plant recovery magic. Princess healing flower robe. She became clad in a dress of flower and vines. She rested her hands above Noelle as she began to glow. I'm going to heal you, so don't die on me. We have to take them out before they can recover, Kenos instructed as the remaining mages each fired off an attack spell at the diamond mages. Levadine, Mars said, summoning the sword, blocking their attacks. The robes of flames then disappeared, showing that the two had somewhat recovered. It's my turn, I will take you all out. Andreas exclaimed, zooming towards Latois. And I'll start with you. Combo magic. Explosive shockwave fist. Fire was infused into his fist and he punched her in the gut. The following shockwave mixed with flames, launching her into a wall. The compass tried to get up, but she couldn't and dropped to the ground again. Damn it, I can't get up. Andreas turned to Luck. You're next. Combo magic. Steel heavy body tackle. He exclaimed as his body became covered in steel and jumped into the air, spinning around, crashing forcefully into the lightning mage, sending him into a wall, unable to fight either. Kenos. Expression tensed. Shit, Luck and Latois have been fighting this entire time. They haven't had a chance to be healed, and they don't have Asta's durability. It's just up to me, Klaus, and Asta. Damn, that hurt a lot, Asta said as he got up. He then felt something pecking his head. Nero, what do you want? The bird flew and landed on something. Asta looked at it more closely and saw what it was. A sword, in here, and it's smaller than my sword. It could come in handy, he said, grabbing onto it. Andreas looked at Klaus. You're last up, Four Eyes. A vein pulsed on Klaus' forehead. Don't call me Four Eyes. Steel creation magic. Spiral drill shower. A rain of spiral lances fell on the dual mage. That won't stop me. Combo magic. Tempest heavy fist frenzy. Andreas exclaimed, speeding past the falling drills, wind infused into his fists. Klaus crossed his arms and took the barrage of punches, only being pushed back a few feet, still standing. Meanwhile, with Mars, only and Kenos stood to fight him. It's up to us to take him down, Kenos said, but the wind mage didn't respond, annoying the solar mage a little. Instead just ran towards Mars. Wind creation magic. Swift white hawk. He exclaimed, sending the beast at the dual mage. That attack won't be enough. Solar creation magic. Rain of solar daggers. Kenos exclaimed, sending the daggers on him as well. This will be easy to stop, Mars said as the armor quickly backed up, escaping the range of the daggers. As the hawk approached him, the daggers fell on it, stopping it from advancing. No way, Kenos and both said. Their spells stopped each other. I said that would be easy, Mars said. His attention then shifted to Mimosa, who was still healing Noelle. He then fired two harp blades at them. Mimosa, look out, called. Mimosa turned and saw the blades approaching her, but she didn't move, knowing if she did, they would hit Noelle. She braced herself. Don't worry, I'm here, Asta exclaimed, getting in between the two girls and the blades, cutting through them with his new sword. Kenos smiled. It's about time. He looked at the sword in his hand. A new sword, that doesn't look like your other one. I found it in that room. It's a lot lighter and can be used with just one hand, Asta told him. Thanks for saving us, Asta, Mimosa said gratefully. No problem, Asta responded with a grin. Hey, Asta, the swordsman turned to see Noelle, sitting up. Her wounds had stopped bleeding. What are you doing? Hurry up and win this already. Asta's grin only widened. Don't you worry, I intend to do just that, he said. Just then, his sword began glowing, a blue outline forming in its center. Wow, what just happened? That won't matter, Mars exclaimed as he fired a harp blade at Asta. Due to his reflexes, Asta made an immediate slashing motion to stop the blade, but as he did, a crescent-shaped slash of water was released and sped towards the mineral mage, sending him to the ground. Did he just use a water attack? Kenos wondered aloud. The sword had somehow taken Noelle's attribute into itself and used it for an attack. I'm not sure of exactly what I did, but that was awe, Asta began, but stopped as he felt immense pain. He looked down and saw the harp blade that Mars had shot earlier, buried in his stomach. Blood gushed out of his mouth as he fell to the ground. Asta, exclaimed. Mimosa, I'm fine, go tend to Asta, Noelle told the plant mage with a frantic tone. All right, Mimosa obeyed, running over to Asta. She then gasped. Crap. His wound is incredibly bad. He's losing more blood than Noelle was. She placed her hands above him as he glowed. Don't worry. I'll come over there. We can both heal him, Kenos said, running to them. You're not going anywhere. Mars retaliated as he fired shards of crystals, stopping the solar mage in his tracks. Damn it, Kenos muttered as he then heard a sound. He turned and saw Klaus on the ground not too far from him. That wasn't too bad of a fight, but he can't beat me alone, Andreas said, slowly walking to Klaus. Stay away from him, Noelle warned, casting another sea dragon's lair, but in her current condition, she could only cast one big enough to cover her, Klaus, Mimosa, and Asta. I've got Andreas, Yuno said. That leaves me against Mars, Kenos responded. Yuno ran towards the dual mage. Take this, wind magic, towering tornado. An impressive spell, but you're not the only one who can use wind, combo magic, tempest heavy rotating kick. Andreas exclaimed, but this time, he rotated his body to increase the force of his kick, sending a strong amount of wind force towards Yuno's tornado, dispersing it. That combo magic of his is really troublesome, the wind mage muttered to himself. Solar magic. Sunbeam ray. Kenos exclaimed, firing the shot at Mars, but he retaliated by blocking it with Levadine. Kenos sucked his teeth. I'm not going to get any attacks in with that blade of his blocking them, meaning I have to fight close up. He activated his ring once more. He checked and saw that 2 green outlines had turned black. This is the second time using my ring today. I just hope it'll last until the end of this fight. Solar creation magic. Solar construct. Blade. The sword came to his hand and he charged at Mars, jumping into the air. As he descended, Mars defended himself using the arm of his armor. Kenos managed to chip off a few pieces before landing back on the ground. What kind of attack was that? This is a real attack, Mars said as one of his armor hands balled up into a fist, ready to punch Kenos. We'll see how real of an attack it truly is. Solar creation magic. Amaterasu's guard. Kenos exclaimed as the goddess appeared, blocking the attack. He then smirked. Well, I guess it wasn't such a real attack after all. Mars ignored his opponent's remark and turned to his ally. Andreas, you are winning, right? Can't really answer that right now. This obstacle is a pretty tough one. He's clearly stronger than the other ones I fought, Andreas replied. I see. In that case, Mars said, summoning Levadine once more. Kenos sighed. Great. He brought out that thing again. I'm not using it on you, Mars muttered quietly. He looked at Andreas. The impact mage nodded back and put some distance between himself and Yuno. Kenos looked confused. What are they planning? Well, whatever it is, I have to be smart. Right now, that sword blocks my long-range attacks. His armor withstands my close-range attacks. I can't really do anything right now, but why is he looking at Yuno? Wait a minute. Yuno saw Andreas back up. Here's my chance. Wind magic. Crescent moon sick. He began, ready to cast his spell, but just as he was about to complete the motion, at the corner of his eye, he saw Levadine, ready to descend on him for the second time that day. Crap. I'm already casting a spell. I can't do it and avoid that sword so quickly, and Asta isn't here this time. If I don't do something, I'm screwed, he thought, but was once more interrupted as he felt himself get pushed out of the way. What the? But how? He asked himself. He looked behind to see who had done it, and when he did, his eyes widened. Kenos. The solar mage had perceived that Mars was intending to attack Yuno, and just as the blade of crystal was ready to descend on Yuno, Kenos used his increased speed to push him to safety, but in the process, put himself under the large bladed spell. He endangered himself, just to save me, Yuno thought before another thought came to his head, something he had said earlier. There's no way I'm working with another stuck-up noble, even if he is a part of Asta's squad. The wind mage sucked his teeth. Damn me, he muttered as he shot the sickle at half strength at Kenos, pushing him out of the way as well. The blade crashed into the ground, not a person was hit by it. Yuno got up. Damn me, damn me, damn me. He thought angrily to himself. First I'm saved by Asta, then by Kenos. I need to be stronger. My double spell from before didn't work. I need to get a lot stronger. After all, I'm striving to be the Wizard King. His grimoire then glowed and a bright light shined, temporarily blinding him. Once the light faded, his eyes opened, but something strange was going on. Nobody else was moving and the area had taken on a grayish color. Did I stop time? He wondered before noticing something, or someone, in front of him. It appeared to be a small fairy. She was clothed in a green dress, had blonde hair, and pointy ears. She smiled at Yuno before blowing at both Mars and Andreas. Color returned as time went back to its normal speed, but as it did, both Mars and Andreas were sent flying into walls, breaking Mars' Titan armor. No way. Incredible, Yuno muttered, but to his surprise, Andreas and Mars stood back up. This isn't over, Mars said in between breaths. Flame recovery magic. Phoenix robe, he said as the robes of flame covered the two once more, but dispersed just a few seconds later. That's the best I can do for recovery right now. Don't worry, it'll be more than enough. I'm going to use my best spell, Andreas said, turning to Yuno and Kenos. Consider this an honor. Only those I deem the greatest obstacles make me use this, so prepare yourselves. Combo magic. Flame wind double impact. Fire and wind gathered as he did the gestures, infusing them with the wave of force. We can't let that hit us. Kenos exclaimed as he ran in front of the attack and cast an Amaterasu's guard spell. The wave of force made contact with the defense spell. Kenos could feel the intensity of the attack and struggled to completely block it. Damn, what is this spell? The power behind it is ridiculous, Kenos said in between groans of pain, trying his best to stop it, but it was no use. His defense spell eventually disappeared, exposing him and Yuno to whatever force was left over, which surprisingly, was a lot. The two were sent into a wall, the area around them taking twice as much damage. Kenos struggled, but he managed to get up. I can still go on. The ring increased my durability. He turned to Yuno and saw that he was down, but not unconscious. He then looked at his ring. All four outlines went black. I'm the only one left. Just one more obstacle to go. It seems my spell didn't finish you. You're a lot tougher than I gave you credit for, Andreas said. Let's hurry up and take him down. Then we'll kill them all and claim the dungeon, Mars added. Kill us all. I can't let that happen. As well as protecting everyone and claiming the dungeon, Kenos began, his mind recalling two things that were said to him. Aren't you ashamed? Kenos Rossiu, a member of an esteemed noble house, joining the Black Bulls, what would your family think? There's no way I'm working with another stuck-up noble, even if he is a part of Asta's squad. The solar mage clenched his fists and grit his teeth. I'm going to change their minds. He exclaimed. I already proved to Klaus that he was wrong about the Black Bulls, but now, with both him and Yuno, I'm going to prove that they were wrong about me. Just then, his grimoire floated up to him, flipping to a pair of blank pages. The pages were then inscribed on with words. Kenos gasped. New spell. Your new spell won't matter if you can't use it. Mars and Andreas exclaimed together, running at Kenos from opposite directions. Quiet. This fight has been going on for some time. I'm going to put an end to it. For good, Kenos said as he spoke his new spell. Solar magic. He began as two X's of sunlight appeared. One broke up into two straight lines and flew in opposite directions, hitting both diamond mages and pushing them so that they were back to back, right in front of Kenos a few yards away. What is this spell? I feel like it's trying to crush us, or keep us right here, Mars noted. Kenos took the other X and pointed it right at the two. It's over now, he thought as sunlight began charging in it. The solar mage spread out one hand before clenching it tightly. Solar Cross Destroyer. The X released a massive blast of magic. Everyone from the side watched as it hit the two mages, knocking them out while doing a sizable amount of damage around them. Noelle released her water barrier as she and Klaus got up to help Luck and Latois. Yuno got up and walked to Kenos. Not bad, he said. Thanks, it's clearly stronger than my sunbeam ray, Kenos said back as he heard an intense rumbling. They looked around and saw debris falling. Oh no, our battle has left the dungeon unstable, it's going to collapse, we have to get out of here. Leave it to me, Klaus said, summoning his chariot. Everybody got on. Mimosa, how's Asta? Noelle asked. It's too close to call, she replied. Guys, wait, they heard Asta mutter. You're awake, they said. Yeah, I regained consciousness some time ago, long enough to see that awesome spell of yours Kenos, but, he said, weakly pointing behind them. They turned and saw Andreas and Mars on the ground. Please, help them too. What? We can't help them, they're the enemy, Kenos protested. Yeah, but, they're people too, we can't just leave them like this. Kenos sighed. I must say, Asta, you're a better man than me, or rather, a more merciful one, but sorry, as well as the dungeon collapsing, Klaus' chariot is short on space, he said to the disappointment of his squadmate. Come on Klaus, we have to hurry. Ah damn, Asta weakly said, falling into unconsciousness again. Asta, Mimosa exclaimed, continuing to heal him. Let me help, Kenos said as he knelt, using his own recovery spell. Klaus, chariot dodged debris on the way to the exit, with Mimosa occupied. Latois used her magic to guide them. Yuno and Luck destroyed any debris that got too close. Even Noelle helped, using her wand to fire as much water as she could. While it didn't destroy any debris, it pushed it away from them. We're almost there, but we can make a shortcut. Yuno, Luck, shoot your spells directly in front of us. It should lead outside, Latois instructed. Yuno and Luck obeyed and did so, the chariot soon flying through the newly made opening, right outside. All right. They all cheered, happy to see the sun again. How long were we in there for? Noelle wondered aloud, seeing that the sun was about to set. The chariot landed and they all got off, being careful when handling Asta's body. The two of us have healed him the best we can. Right now, it all depends on when he'll wake up, Kenos told them as they all looked at Asta. To their relief, he slowly began to open his eyes, seeing everyone look at him. Hey there everyone, is there something on my face? No you idiot, you woke up, Yuno told him with a small smile. Oh yeah, my wound doesn't hurt anymore, he stated, getting up. You have Mimosa and Kenos to thank for that, Klaus explained. Mimosa, Kenos, I owe you 2-1, Asta thanked the two magic knights. Mimosa slightly blushed. It was my pleasure. Kenos grinned. No problem, we're squadmates. It's good that you're awake, but now that that's out of the way, Klaus said, walking over to Asta and Yuno. To their surprise, he gave them both a big hug. I'm so sorry, you too. Huh, I'm sorry, I underestimated you just because you were a commoner, Klaus said to Asta before turning to Yuno. And despite not being displayed during this mission, I have looked down on you only because of your background. I'm proud to have you on the Golden Dawn. Thank you, the two rivals said to the Steel Mage. And that's not it. I owe an apology to the Black Bulls and to you, Kenos, Klaus continued. You might still be on the less sane side, but you are a very capable squad. I apologize for insulting them and Kenos' decision to join them. Thanks, the Black Bulls said to him. Same with me, Latois said, catching their attention. I never looked down on commoners, there was really no point in it, but today, I've seen that they have great potential, she turned to the Lightning Mage. Especially you, Luck. Thanks, you were awesome today too, he said back. Yuno turned to Kenos and walked over to him. I'm not blameless either, Kenos, I'm sorry for what I said about you, it's just that I've spent some time around nobles who are arrogant and stuck up. When I heard you were a noble, I thought the same was true for you, but I was wrong, you saved me, even at your own risk. Kenos smiled. It's alright. As you already heard in the dungeon, I was planning to do whatever I could to change your minds about me, so no worries, it's all in the past, he said as he extended a hand. Yuno gratefully took it and they shook. So, what about the dungeon? Luck spoke up. Well, since it collapsed on itself, no kingdom can really claim it and get the treasure, Latois replied. So, I guess we can just head back now and report this to Captain William. Sounds good to me, Klaus said. Hey, Black Bulls, you need a lift, we can bring you back to your base. Yes please, they all replied at once. Klaus summoned his chariot and they all got on and rode into the sky. The Clover Kingdom put up quite the fight, a voice said, watching the magic knights take off. It was Lotus, sitting on one of his transportation spells and behind him was a load of the treasure. But the Diamond Kingdom won this one, the Smoke Mage monologued. That Solar Boy's spell wore off eventually and I made my way to the treasure room, but then, it began collapsing, good thing I got some of it, along with you. He turned behind him. Laying on the treasure was Mars, Andreas, and the lower mages that had accompanied him. We might have lost, but we got the treasure, so technically, we won, Mars said. Yeah, but I can't believe we lost to those magic knights. Next time we encounter them, I'm kicking all of their asses, Andreas added as Lotus flew off. Mars rested on his back. Hey, Lotus, thanks. Lotus was caught off guard. Thanks. You've never told me that before. Well, he's right, as much as I hate to admit it, you saved us back there, Andreas said as well. You're welcome, now rest, you've been through a lot, he told them, the rest of the way was silent. Mars turned his head and looked at the sunset, he had seen it many times, but this was the first time he paid any attention to it, it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. He smiled peacefully. The outside, I'm here, Fana, I hope wherever you are, you're enjoying it too. The two groups of mages from different kingdoms, each flying in a different direction, though they were bitter enemies, neither of them denied that that dungeon had changed them, in one way or another. Author's note. Hey readers, just wanted to give some credit where it's due, the OC character Andreas was not my own, but in fact, an OC of War Machine 375, a different fanfiction author, War PM the character as well as the attribute and spells to me as well as some other OCs and I decided to use them all in the story. If any of you have an OC you want me to use, either PM me or write in as a review, tell me their name, age, attribute, spells, description of spells, and a description of their character. You can send more than one, but please, not too many, I will look at them and PM you if I want them to be in the story. With that out of the way, enjoy your weekend, I've got a cake to go cut. CYA. Shauna. Hey, can I do something for me? Sure, what is it? Shauna asked. Well, I don't really know any spells that aren't combat-centric, so if you could, can you help me learn some support spells, she replied. Shauna was a bit surprised by her squadmate's request for help, she then smiled. Of course I'll help you. Zuka smiled as well. Thanks, I really appreciate it, she said as they continued flying back to their base. But back at the scene of a battle, a man walked around, taking into account the scorched patches of grass. He walked over to a spot that was especially scorched. His face showed a distressed look. Just then, he took out a device and pushed a button on it, creating a small window. From the other side of the window, a person spoke. Julius, what are you doing outside of the capital again? The person said. It was Marx. He then noticed the distressed look on his face. Julius, is everything all right? No, Marx, Julius replied, bending down to get a better look of the scorched spot. He then raised himself up. I have a feeling that something bad is about to happen. Chapter 11. At the capital, Part 1. We should be arriving at the Black Bull's hideout shortly, Latois said. The Black Bulls and the Golden Dawn were on Klaus' chariot, flying to the hideout. 12 minutes passed before they arrived. The chariot then landed. Thanks for the ride, Klaus, Keno said gratefully as he got off. I'll see you some other time, Mimosa. Take care, Noelle said as she got off. Her cousin smiled. The same to you, she said back. I'm off too. That mission was awesome. There was so much fighting. Luck cheered as he exited as well. Luck, wait, he turned to see Latois. Oh, have you changed your mind and decided to fight me? The lightning mage asked. The answer is still no. I just wanted to say once again that you did well in the dungeon. I hope that maybe we could work together again, she replied with a small smile. You bet, that would be awesome. He exclaimed. We worked well together in that dungeon, Asta asked. Yuno nodded and smirked. Yeah, we did do pretty good, but it appears I'm in your debt again, both yours and Keno's. I know, but I know you'll come and save us if we ever need you, Asta laughed, getting off the chariot. Asta, Yuno said. The swordsman turned to see him holding out his fist. Don't forget. Asta grinned. How could I? He met the fist with his own. We're going to see who can become the Wizard King, they both said in unison. All right, we're off, enjoy the rest of your day. Klaus called as the chariot flew into the air. It's felt like forever since we've been at the hideout, Keno's mused as they all walked through the entrance. All the other Black Bulls were there. Hey there everyone, we're back. I can see that. How was the dungeon? Yami asked, looking down at his paper. It was so awesome. The Golden Dawn was there. We fought 3 ridiculously strong Diamond Kingdom mages, and Keno's got a new spell. Asta exclaimed ecstatically. Really? A new spell? That's pretty impressive, Yami said, impressed. Keno scratched the back of his head. Thanks, Captain, but the most impressive one on the mission was Asta. He survived an attack that should have been fatal. As that's so, then I take it all 4 of you pushed past your limits. You can relax for the rest of the day, he told them. Thank you, sir, they Clover saluted. Well, if I want to relax, then I'm going to take a hot bath. Asta, Luck, care to join me? The solar mage asked. Okay, Luck replied. Yeah, me too, I could really use a. Asta began as he walked toward the hallway, but then stumbled. Whoa, Asta, are you okay? Noelle asked. I'm fine, I just need a few seconds to. He was about to reply before dropping to the ground. Asta soon found himself surrounded in darkness. He then began to hear faint sounds. Has another day passed by? A voice asked. Yeah, it has, I just hope he'll wake up soon, another voice replied. Asta began to slowly open his eyes and saw that he was laying down on a bed in his room and the 2 people were right beside him. Noelle, Keno's. The 2 mages' faces brightened as he spoke to them. Noelle was especially happy. You're awake. Keno's ran to the entrance of his room. Hey everyone, Asta's awake. He exclaimed as everyone ran inside. Rasta, you're finally awake. Magna exclaimed. Are you hungry? I can make you something. Charmy added. You really worried us, kiddo, Vanessa finished. Asta was obviously confused. What happened? Right after you got back from the dungeon mission, you were about to go take a bath, but then you fainted, Finral explained. Keno's nodded. You've been asleep for a whole week, he said. You most likely fainted due to injury, exhaustion, and blood loss from the mission. It seems you just needed to rest. You're right, I do feel a lot better, Asta said as he got up and stretched. It's good that you've recovered, because, Yami began, taking out a slip of paper. This came in yesterday from the capital. It's about the dungeon. They want to talk to the mages that were there and get an idea of what happened, and now you're awake, you all can head there. We're going to the capital. Keno's and Noelle said aloud. Oh yeah, the capital is full of some of the strongest mages in the kingdom, I can't wait to fight them. Luck cheered before feeling something grip his head. Yami took the lightning mage and lifted him. Oh no you don't. Keno's and Noelle told me that during the dungeon mission, you left them. I'm sending you on another mission, he said with a glare. Sweat dripped down Luck's forehead, but his smile remained. There was a really strong opponent, and it turned out to be a diamond mage, he said as Yami let go of him. He then turned to the 3 rookies. You 3 are the only ones going, so hurry up, he ordered. Yes sir. They said as Asta got his grimoire and satchel, Finral then created a portal and they entered it. On the other side, was the royal capital. Kenos and Noel had seen this place many times, seeing that their homes resided there. Asta on the other hand, was completely taken aback. Wow, this place looks incredible, he exclaimed. His two squadmates wore two different reactions to his amazement. Keep it down Dirksta, you're embarrassing us, Noel said. But you can't blame him, the capital is a beautiful place, Kenos said in his defense before seeing three people in the distance. Hey, who are those people? They look familiar. Asta and Noel looked in his direction. Asta then grinned. It's the Golden Dawn, hey guys, he exclaimed, running to them. Hey wait up, the two mages ran to catch up with him. Huh, Yuno said as he turned around and saw Asta running to him. Klaus, and Mimosa, he groaned. Asta, you really don't know when to be quiet, don't you? The swordsman caught up to the three. How's it going? Klaus was the first to reply. He walked over to the Black Bull. We're doing just fine, Asta. Are you doing okay? We were told you fainted after getting back. He asked. Yup, I'm doing fine, Asta replied. Noel was the first to catch up with the swordsman. Damn, why didn't you wait for us? Oh, my bad, it's just that I feel like I have so much energy, he said before noticing the plant mage. Oh, hey Mimosa, I want to thank you again, you and Kenos totally saved me, I really owe you one. To his surprise, she didn't greet him. In fact, she ran away from him, hiding her face from them. I'm going to go check on her, Noel said as she walked to her cousin. Kenos then arrived. Hey there Klaus, hey there Yuno, he greeted. Hello Kenos, I take it you're doing good too, Klaus said as the two shook hands. It's good to see you, Yuno added as the two high-fived. Hey, look at you three, you're really starting to get along, Asta said starry-eyed. No fair, why are you two getting along with Yuno? A voice asked. Asta and Kenos looked around and saw a small blonde-haired fairy fly to the wind mage's shoulder. Oh, who's this? Kenos asked, getting closer to her. She's the wind spirit, Sylph, but you can all call her Belle, he introduced her. I found her in the dungeon, it was thanks to her that you were able to deal the finishing blow on Andreas and Mars. I see, thank you very much Belle, Kenos said. No problem there, but back to what I was saying, why is Yuno smiling at the two of you, but never to me, she complained, pulling at Yuno's cheek. Maybe it's because we just met a week ago, Yuno replied nonchalantly, pulling her away. HMPH, no fair, the spirit pouted before they all heard something. They turned to see Mimosa and Noel, each looking flustered, their faces red. What's the matter with them? Klaus wondered. I dunno, maybe their heads hurt, Asta assumed. I doubt that, it's most likely some girl thing we can't understand, Kenos said as they all nodded. That reminds me, I forgot to ask why you're here. Captain Vengeance told us that we were summoned to the capital because of the dungeon mission, Klaus responded. The same with us, but if they're asking for the mages who went there, where's Latois? Kenos then asked. She was going to join us, but she was needed for a mission. I see that Luck isn't here with you either, Klaus replied. That's right, our captain sent him on a mission as well, Asta stepped in. So, if we're all heading there, we should get a move on, the solar mage said as they joined up with the two girls and kept walking forward, but stopped as they heard a loud voice from behind them. Hey, Kenos. The solar mage turned at the call of his name, and his eyes widened at who was running to him. No way, I can't believe it. Zuka, it's really you, the sparkle mage exclaimed as caught up to him, the two then high-fived. I know, I wasn't sure if we would see each other again, Kenos said back. Asta walked up to them. Hello there, I'm Asta, who's this? Oh yeah, Kenos said, motioning to everybody. This is Zuka Glatenia, a friend I made from the Aqua Deer. Asta and Noel's minds instantly clicked at the mention of that name. So you're Zuka, the girl Kenos was with on his first mission, the one who helped him defeat 100 bandits. It's nice to meet you, I'm Noel Silva, the water mage introduced herself. The Golden Dawn then introduced themselves one by one to her as well, Kenos grinned. So Zuka, what brings you to the capital? Well, Captain Rill told us that we were summoned here because of a mission we did a week ago, she replied. We? Everyone asked. Zuka. Two voices then exclaimed. Zuka nervously turned around and saw Shauna and Oliver running to her. Oh, she quietly muttered. What the hell Zuka? You ran off from us, Oliver said, stopping to catch his breath. Shauna did the same. Yeah, I know this is your first time coming to the capital, but I said that we would stay together. I know, I'm sorry, it's just that I ran into someone I knew, she turned to the solar mage. This is Kenos Rossiu, the mage that partnered with me in Realzoo. The two mages were taken aback. What, you went on a mission with a member of the Rossiu house? Oliver exclaimed, looking to Kenos and lightly bowing his head. These are my two squad mates, Oliver Yugdro, and Shauna Trixton, Zuka said. Okay, now that you two have caught up with me, why don't we all get a move on? The others nodded, hoping that they wouldn't be interrupted again. They then continued walking. So, where exactly are we going? Zuka asked. To the Magic Knight headquarters, Shauna replied as they reached the entrance. Wow, this place looks even cooler, Asta squealed. I'm glad you think so. I thought the exact same thing when I first came here, a voice spoke out, surprising the group. Just then, a door opened and a man walked out before them. The group all had different reactions, some showed surprise, others showed confusion. As for Kenos, he had a big smile on his face. Julius, he thought. Welcome to the palace. I take it you're the Magic Knights I summoned here, Julius said in a welcoming tone. Klaus instantly bowed to him on one knee. Noel, Mimosa, Shauna, and Oliver did the same. Asta, Yuno, and Zuka were confused as to why and just stood there. Kenos, on the other hand, was standing, but his smile didn't disappear. Asta glanced at Julius. Who's the guy in the flashy clothes? Zuka nodded. Yeah, but by the looks of it, he seems to be somebody important. You fools! Klaus exclaimed. Do you have any idea who's standing before you? This is the 28th Wizard King, Julius Novachrono. The three mages' faces showed instant surprise and they bowed respectively. Kenos remained standing, causing Klaus to look at him. Kenos, what do you think you're doing? Show your respect to the Wizard King and bow. Now why would I do that? Kenos asked as he walked to Julius. That isn't the way I greet a friend. He and Julius then shared a quick hug. It's good to see you again, Kenos, and this time, under better circumstances, Julius said. The same with me, Kenos said back before noticing Asta creep up on them, starry-eyed. I don't believe it, it's the Wizard King, right in front of me, he said, poking at the mage's red robe. Hello there, you must be Asta, Kenos told me about you, Julius greeted. You know who I am? Asta exclaimed as the others got up. Yuno then walked beside him. Please forgive him, he can be a loudmouth sometimes, okay, maybe all the time. Hey, that's not true Yuno, you take it back. Asta exclaimed, charging at Yuno playfully, but the mage merely stopped him with a palm. Just like I said, Yuno muttered before turning to Julius. Excuse me, Wizard King, if you could, may you look at my grimoire, there's something I got from the dungeon in there. He handed his grimoire over to Julius. You don't have to address me like that, you can just use my first name. As for your grimoire, it's very interesting, you don't see a four-leaf clover every day, and this writing, it looks like spirit magic, he said, becoming starry-eyed. Yuno nodded, then turned his head out of view of the others so they would see the huge smile on his face. No way, the Wizard King is holding my grimoire, and he thinks it's interesting, so cool, he thought before turning his head back, regaining his signature nonchalant look. Thank you. He said spirit magic huh? Belle wondered, flying out into view. Oh, is that the wind spirit I've read about you? Julius asked. You better believe it, Belle replied with a wink. Mr. Julius, can you look at my grimoire too? Asta exclaimed, completely awestruck by the mage's assessment of Yuno's grimoire. Why of course, you use anti-magic, right? Julius asked aloud, taking the grimoire and opening it, reading its contents. I can't really read this, it appears to be in a different language. Oh, then check out my swords, Asta said, drawing out the short sword. Wow, an anti-magic sword, it's kind of rusty, but it has impressive workmanship, may I hold it, he said gleefully. Be my guest, the swordsman replied, handing it over, but just as he let go of it, it brought Julius down. Damn, this thing is really heavy, Julius said before noticing something else happening. It's draining my magic, he then thought before letting it go. Asta took it back up with one hand and put it in his grimoire. My, you must be a strong one to hold that with just one hand. That's right, I do training every single day, he said before remembering something. Oh, and another thing, can you tell me? Yuno caught on to what he was about to say and joined in. Quote. How do you become the Wizard King? What, isn't that obvious? You must have pride in your own ability, as well as the respect of the people, Klaus replied. That's the only way. No, Julius interrupted, his face was serious. What you need are results. Pride in your ability alone won't protect anyone, and the respect of the people isn't given but earned. All that matters are results. If you want to become the next Wizard King, get stronger, that's all there is to it. The two rivals nodded. I understand. Good, now, on to why I called you here. We were going to discuss, but it turns out that something else has come up today, Julius said, smiling. The Merits Confirmation Ceremony. Merits Confirmation Ceremony? Zuka asked. It's for Magic Knights who have amassed a decent number of stars for their squad, the Wizard King replied. They are awarded an increase in rank, allowing them to climb up in the Magic Knight hierarchy. There's a hierarchy? Asta asked this time. Kenos spoke up. Yes, within the Magic Knights, there are 5 ranks: Junior Magic Knight, Intermediate Magic Knight, Senior Magic Knight, Grand Magic Knight, and finally, the Wizard King. Wait, the Wizard King is a rank of Magic Knight? Zuka asked. The Solar Mage nodded. Correct, which explains why Julius said you need results over everything. Grand Magic Knight is practically a captain. Then there's the last 3. For these, they're split into 5 classes, with 5 being the least and 1 being the best. All Magic Knights begin as 5th class junior. As they collect merits, their rank will go up. I'm impressed, Kenos. It's obvious you've been studying in preparation for the exam, Julius stated. Why don't you join us for it? You can just watch. Okay. Everyone replied together as they followed Julius into the building and down a hallway. Hey, Kenos. Asta spoke up. Yeah, do you ever plan on becoming the Wizard King? Kenos was a bit taken aback. Where did that come from? Asta scratched the back of his head. Well, you know so much, and you're friends with the current Wizard King. Not to mention you're an exceptional mage, Yuno added. Nah, becoming the Wizard King isn't my thing. Julius tells me it's a lot of work, he replied with a playful smile. Besides, you two want to claim that title, I'll leave it to you, just consider me someone to help you. The two smiled as Julius spoke up. Alright, we're here. They all stopped in front of a large door. Julius then opened it. At once, what the group noticed first were the Magic Knights that turned to look at them. Kenos eyed them, all from different squads. There were many he didn't recognize at all, and there were some he did, but then there were people he really knew. As he saw those people, he felt his breath leave him for a few seconds, unable to believe who was standing before him. Dante and Oksana. The Solar Mage immediately recognized his 2 older siblings, standing beside their captains, and it didn't take long for them to recognize him either. They both glared at him, before turning their attention back to Julius as he walked forward. My apologies for keeping you waiting. I'm glad to see all of you here, especially you two, Dante, Oksana. It's been some time since we've last seen each other, and it's been even longer since I've seen all 3 Rossiu siblings together, but this time, as Magic Knights of the Clover Kingdom, he said. Now, let the ceremony begin. The group watched as each Magic Knight went up and was given a medal as well as an increase in rank. Julius also used this as a chance to give them all pointers which they gladly accepted. That's everyone. I must thank the captains for attending as well. Unfortunately, William couldn't be here, but he must be busy. There's a banquet in the next room, so enjoy yourselves. That goes for our surprise guests as well. I have some important business to tend to, the Wizard King said, leaving them as they entered the banquet hall. The first thing that they noticed was the trays of food everywhere as well as the tantalizing aroma that came with it. Asta wasted no time grabbing a plate and loading it with whatever he could find, digging in graciously. This all tastes so good, I think it even rivals Charmy's cooking. Mimosa slightly blushed as she approached the magicless mage. Hello Asta, sorry for earlier, I was wondering if I could eat with you. It's no problem, of course you can join me. I see that you've been eyeing this piece of meat over here, would you like some? Her cheeks became redder. Yes, I would, I bet you would taste delicious, I mean it would taste delicious. She exclaimed. Asta looked at her strangely. Kenos took a bite of his food and looked at Asta, glad he was enjoying himself, but he noticed some other people mocking him, calling a dirty slum rat among other insults, but Asta merely ignored them. He also noticed that Zuka and her friends enjoying themselves, bringing a smile to his face. Kenos. The mere sound of 2 voices caused that smile to vanish. He turned to see Dante and Oksana walking over to him. They then stopped, the 3 siblings standing only a few feet from each other. On each of their faces was complete nonchalance. Dante, Oksana, he said, his face not showing any emotion. Hello Kenos, I trust that the Black Bulls have been treating you well. Dante asked. Kenos slightly nodded. They have, but I must say I'm surprised. I thought you might have been a bit more disappointed, especially when I had the choice to join one of your squads. The squad you want to join was your choice. You wanted to join the Black Bulls, so there's nothing we could do about it, and I can't say we would be too happy if you were to join one of our squads either, Oksana said. But I assume mother and father won't have the same mindset. They know about my decision. Of course, they're our parents, and I believe you've heard of the rumor regarding you, Dante replied. I can imagine they would be upset. Yes, I have, Kenos responded. Speaking of squads, congratulations on your new ranks. You've both been promoted to 2nd class junior Magic Knights. That's impressive, especially since you've been on your squads for less than 2 weeks. Thanks, they both said in unison. During that entire conversation, neither of the 3 Rossiu siblings broke their expression of nonchalance, almost as if it was nothing new about it, but it didn't continue as Asta approached them. Kenos, you have to try this cake, it's incredible. Oh, hello there. he began before stopping and looking at Dante and Oksana, greeting them. You seem to be really enjoying that food, Dante said to him. I take it you're a commoner. That's right, my name's Asta, he replied. Asta, is that it? No last name? Nope, I'm an orphan, I don't know my last name, he replied. Is that so, a commoner and an orphan? Dante said, walking to Asta, his face wearing an indifferent expression, making the swordsman a bit nervous, but to his surprise, he merely brought out his hand. Well, it's nice to meet you, Asta, I am Dante Rossiu, Keno's older brother, the steel mage introduced himself. I must thank your squad for taking him in, I hope he hasn't been a bother. Asta shook his hand. Nice to meet you too, Dante, Keno's has been great, he said as he then saw Oksana approach him, her earlier nonchalant expression was replaced with a look of curiosity. Hello. Hi there, I'm Oksana Rossiu, Keno's older sister, she introduced. But there's something I want to know, what's up with you? How am I not feeling any mana coming out of you? How did you get into the Magic Knights? Are you the special black bull I've heard about? She asked in rapid succession. Was all Asta could really say in response. Dante sighed. Oksana, must you speak so quickly without thinking, especially with those questions, even when it came to picking the squad you wanted to join, he said with a stoic expression. Don't be like that, Dante. I'd rather be like this than some stoic serious boy, Oksana teased her older brother. I'm not sure of everything you asked, but I did hear something about a special black bull, what exactly is that about? Asta asked. As well as the rumor about Keno's, I heard that there was a magic knight on the black bulls that didn't have mana, but had a sword that could negate magic. I'm guessing that's you, Oksana replied a lot slower than her previous flurry of words. Yeah, that's me, Asta said. So you two are Keno's siblings, now I look at all of you together, you do look alike, especially with that thing on your hair. Our hair? Dante asked, but then realized what he was talking about. Oh, you must be referring to our stripes. He touched the blue stripe going down the center of his head. Oksana did the same with the purple stripe going down the left side of her head. When we were kids, our parents thought it would be nice to have something all three of us had, so they asked a mage to put a stripe of our favorite colors on a different side of our heads, Keno's explained as he passed a finger on the orange stripe going down the right side of his head. That's so cool, and you two are really nice. I honestly kinda thought you'd be a bit wary of me since I'm a commoner, Asta admitted. You being a commoner doesn't matter. Through our family's friendship with Julius, we've learned that discrimination is wrong. What right do we have to look down on you? We didn't ask to be born into a noble family, and you didn't ask to be born a commoner, Oksana replied. Dante nodded. Your future and potential shouldn't be judged by the status you were born into. Look at you. You're a commoner with no magic, but with that sword of yours, your potential is limitless. That's the kind of kingdom Julius wants to create. That's incredible. I want to be the Wizard King someday, and I'll fight for the same goal, Asta said with a smile before stopping, realizing something. I hope you don't mind if I ask you a question. Not at all. Well, you two sound like incredible people, I don't see how we can't become friends, but, he began. I remember Keno's told me you all had a bit of a falling out, what exactly happened? The two mages stopped and looked at each other, regaining their previous looks of nonchalance. Dante was the one to speak up. Yes, it's true. In fact, the two of us and Keno's haven't been on good terms for years, but we decided that outright hating each other would be bad for our family. Our falling out comes in the form of our differences. Differences? Asta asked before looking around him and seeing that the other people present had drawn closer to them, almost likely wanting to see the three siblings together. Yes, our first difference has to do with this, Oksana replied, motioning to her pendant. Asta looked at the pendant, the one with a wyvern roaring into the sky. Each of the siblings had one. What about it? Isn't that just your family's crest? Correct, but it goes deeper than that, she continued. The reason the wyvern is our family's crest is because the patriarch of the Rossiu house, the very first Rossiu, was a user of wyvern magic. He was one of the greatest mages of his time, but his magic was one of a kind. As he married and had children, the affinity for the attribute became less likely to be passed down. Dante continued explaining. As the family expanded, wyvern magic eventually died out, so in his memory, all Rossius are to create a powerful spell of any type that's in the likeness of a wyvern. To us, it's like a rite of passage. Oksana and I have created wyvern spells already, but Keno's has yet to do so. But then the two of us came to the consensus that that reason was illogical. Keno's is younger than us and has only had his grimoire for a year. It's unlikely for him to unlock a spell like that very quickly, Oksana said. Other reasons exist for our falling out, but the greatest is without a doubt. Stop, Keno's interrupted. Don't you dare. If they all are going to hear what happened, it's going to come from me and me alone. Keno's, what are they talking about? Zuka asked. The solar mage sighed. Fine then, might as well explain now that it's in everyone's heads, he said. What she's talking about is my birth. Your birth, what does that have to do with anything? Asta asked. Kenos looked at all of them seriously. It has a lot to do with it. You see, my birth, it was an accident. Chapter 12. At the Capital, Part 2. Hey there, readers, just want to let you know that the OC suggestion time has ended. It will open up again on December 1st. With that out of the way, enjoy the new chapter. An accident, the thought went through everyone's minds. Kenos paused before continuing. He assumed the others present were shocked as well. Yes, as I was growing up, the servants at my house have told me that my parents only planned to have 2 children, but one day, to my mother's surprise, she realized she was pregnant. Surprised when she realized she was pregnant. How does that happen? Zuka asked, clearly confused. Well, she wasn't. Oksana was about to reply due to her talkative reflexes, but Kenos turned around and glared at his sister nonchalantly. She met his glare and stopped talking. The solar mage continued where she left off. As she said, my mother, as well as the rest of my family, wasn't sure exactly how it happened. Rumors began to quickly circulate among a few noble houses that my mother was in an affair with another man. Some of the people there slightly widened their eyes. They remembered a good few years back they overheard a rumor regarding the Rossiu house that had something to do with an affair. Since the Rossiu family was such a prestigious house, they didn't pay it much mind, but could it be that they were true? No way. Was your mother really in an affair? Noel asked. Kenos shook his head, much to the relief of his squadmates and friends. No, shortly after my birth, they had a mage who had DNA magic check us, and it was confirmed that I was their son. Since they were still confused about what happened, they came to the consensus that they must have just forgotten to use protection one night, so my mysterious birth was labeled as an accident, he finished. Everyone but his siblings were quite shocked at the revelation. Asta was the first to speak up. That must be tough, but I understand. I don't really know much about my birth either. So is that the reason you've had a falling out? They don't really think of you as their brother. It's not like that, Dante replied. Not one day will pass when I doubt Kenos as my little brother. It was already proven that day by the mage. We may not see eye to eye, but he's still family. Noelle looked at them and bit her lip. She wished her siblings thought the same since they weren't on good terms either. Kenos might not see eye to eye with his brother and sister, but they could all acknowledge each other to the point where mutual respect existed among them. As for the reason for our falling out, his birth is by far the greatest reason, but there are others, Oksana added. 3 in fact, the first one is his magical attribute. His attribute. The Phantom Mage nodded. As some of you may know right now, Kenos' magical attribute is solar magic. It's a very unique and synergistic attribute, but in fact, nobody in the Rossiu family possesses that attribute, or anything remotely similar. What? Wait. Oliver butt in. No one in your family has solar magic, or maybe even light magic. Dante shook his head. When the family first learned of his attribute, we all assumed something was wrong with him. Magic attributes are mostly hereditary. Whatever attribute your parents had, you're bound to get either that attribute or some different form of it, but in the case of Kenos, he didn't get either, he finished. Actually, after doing a long search 4 years after Kenos' birth, our family found out that no noble house in the kingdom had a mage who used solar magic. Could it possibly be some kind of anomaly? Shauna suggested. Perhaps something unexpected happened that gave him that attribute. We considered that possibility, and it makes the most sense out of everything else we discovered. It still confuses us, but we've come to live with it. There's nothing we can really do about it, Oksana replied. So, what's the second reason? Zuka asked. The second reason, Dante began, pointing at Kenos' satchel, is his grimoire. Noelle and Asta's eyes immediately tensed as they knew what he was referring to. The other mages there were seemingly in the dark. What do you mean? What about his grimoire? Klaus spoke up. Here, you can see for yourself, the solar mage replied as he slowly took his grimoire out. The others walked up and looked at its front cover, their eyes widened. What? Your grimoire has 5 leaves. Zuka exclaimed. We were teamed up in Realzu for around 2 days, how did I not notice that? The same with us, Mimosa added. Kenos and I only met once at the banquet the Wizard King hosted for the Rossius and the Vermilions. He never showed his grimoire to me, and I didn't notice it in the dungeon either. So, what exactly does the 5th leaf represent? Oliver asked. Not sure. We know the meaning of the first 3 leaves most grimoires have, which are faith, hope, and love, Shauna replied. Yuno stepped forward. Then there's the 4th leaf, which represents good luck, like mine. He showed his grimoire to them. But what about the 5th leaf? Dante asked aloud, grabbing everyone's attention. What could it possibly mean, and what could it possibly contain? The Clover Kingdom has no record of it, it's a total mystery. Kenos couldn't help but agree with his brother. There was still much he didn't know about his grimoire. Even Julius didn't have much info on it. He remembered the first day he got it, at a grimoire tower. As he saw others obtain their grimoires, one came up to him. Nothing special happened and nobody else saw it, but when he took a hold of it, he felt something different, yet something extraordinary. I'll find out what it means, one day, he thought to himself. His grimoire is quite the mystery, but what about the last reason? Asta asked. The last reason? Well, no offense to you, but the last reason is joining your squad, the Black Bulls, Oksana replied. Joining our squad? Noel and Asta asked together. Yes, while we must respect Keno's choice for joining the squad of his choice, this has undoubtedly tarnished the reputation of the Rossiu house, especially when there were two other squads who wanted him, each being led by royalty, the eldest daughter replied again. While it's no secret to Kenos that we wouldn't be too happy if he were to join one of our squads, the reputation of our family comes first before our own disagreements. Oksana and I might not mind too much, but it's a different story when it comes to our mother and father, Dante said stoically. So, those are the reasons for what's going on between you? Asta asked. The three siblings nodded. That's it. No offense, but those aren't really the greatest reasons, Zuka said. That's true, but it goes a little deeper than that, Keno said back as he walked to her. Humans are flawed. As such, there are things that we just can't understand. Within all of us exists the resentment or fear of the things we fail to understand or grasp. In the case of my siblings, there's no difference. So, you're practically saying, began. Kenos nodded, knowing what he was going to say. Yes, the reason for our falling out resides in the fact that there are things about me that they just don't understand. The exact reason of my birth, the things that were given to me, and the choices I've made, they don't understand those things, so they have a resentment of it. As such, they have a resentment of me, he finished. Wow, I never thought that things could get complicated like that, Noelle said. Complicated? So what? A voice asked aloud. Noelle turned, her eyes widening in fear as she saw the voice had come from one of her siblings. Standing next to him were the other two. Solid. Noelle's older brother continued speaking. I honestly don't get it, and I honestly don't care either. You're all missing the point. Kenos is a talented mage. Who cares about his attribute and grimoire and all that other crap? I'd rather have him for a younger sibling than my worthless little sister. Noelle looked obviously hurt from his comment, bringing a smile to his face. Oh, I'm sorry, did I hurt little Noelle's feelings? He asked sarcastically. That's enough, Solid, she said back quietly, not having the confidence to yell. Does the useless little wench have something to say? Nebra, her older sister added to her torment. Or are you going to get mad and blast me with water? Wait, what am I talking about? It wouldn't even hit me if you tried. You can't control your magic. I'm getting better at it, Noelle said back, once again lacking any confidence. Kenos looked at his squadmate. He was initially surprised at how quick the attention shifted from him to her, but then he remembered something she told him while they were on the dungeon mission. But I'm royalty. Having trouble controlling my magic must make me an embarrassment, she had told him. I told her that what she needed was time, practice, and encouragement, but it seems she only got 2 out of 3. She was never given the most important thing of the 3, encouragement from her siblings. Her lack of magic control partially stems from her low self-esteem, and they seem to be directly responsible for it, the solar mage deduced in his head. Nozzle walked over to his little sister, glaring menacingly at her. She didn't even look his way. In his hand was a cup of water. He raised it over Noelle's head and poured it over her. I don't know why you're here, and I really don't want to know, so get out, leave this place, go back to that pathetic little squad of yours. Dante and Oksana watched the scene play out, and though no one noticed it, they silently gritted their teeth. Noelle looked away as she slowly began walking. For her entire life, she had lived in fear of her older siblings. They would torment her, both physically and emotionally. She couldn't recall one nice thing they ever said about her. She didn't want to be near them. But as she moved a few inches from him, a hand grabbed her arm. Huh, she muttered, turning to see Asta, a fierce look in his eyes. You don't have to go anywhere. Stay right here, he told her before jumping onto a table, pointing at the Silvas. You 3 are horrible siblings. He then turned to Dante and Oksana. And you 2 need to accept Kenos. The 5 of you are older siblings, don't you care? Asta, Kenos muttered. Despite their problem with Kenos, Dante and Oksana are good people, but you 3, apologize to Noelle right now. She isn't useless or pathetic, she's my friend. Asta exclaimed. The water mage's cheeks turned slightly rosy as her squadmate selflessly defended her. Solid snickered. What's this? A lowly commoner speaking like that to royalty. Just what makes you think we do what you say? You're below us. I might be below you, but just you wait. I'm going to pile up merit. Through my results I'll get stronger and become the Wizard King. Then I'll shut you up and, he was saying before becoming quickly surrounded by a swirl of sand out of nowhere. Sand. Klaus quietly wondered. He turned his head to see another Golden Dawn. He was tall and had green hair. His grimoire was out too, confirming the Steel Mage's suspicion. Alekdora, what are you doing? The man called Alekdor didn't turn to face him, but his face had an annoyed expression. Quieting the mice, a commoner like him can't be the Wizard King. In fact, he shouldn't even be allowed to utter the title. I'll put him down quickly with my sand magic. But sir, isn't that going too far? Klaus asked with a reluctant tone for some reason. I don't remember asking for your opinion. I'm your superior. You are not to question me, Alekdor replied before hearing the sound of cutting. He turned and heard it coming from his spell. Then suddenly, the sand dispersed and Asta was seen again, his large sword in hand. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking. I thought you nobles were supposed to have manners. Asta exclaimed. Alekdor sucked his teeth. I guess he's the one. The black bull with the sword that can negate magic. This can be troublesome. What the hell is going on? Zuka asked, wondering why two magic knights were now fighting each other. This was supposed to be a celebration, right? Oliver and Shauna nodded. This is what we call a noble acting like an idiot, right Oliver? The illusion mage asked. Yup. I honestly can't believe I used to act like that towards Zuka. Well, at least I never got physical with my magic, the wood mage replied. I would have kicked your ass if you did, the sparkle mage muttered. Solid smugly grinned. It seems the famous Golden Dawn can't defeat a lowly commoner. I guess it's up to me, he said, taking out his grimoire. I'm going to enjoy watching you squirm. Water binding magic. Sea serpent's coils. He exclaimed as a snake made out of water appeared, its body moving towards Asta in a constricting motion. As the watery spell approached him, he merely slashed at it, dispersing it immediately. You better look again, because I'm not squirming. Solid gritted his teeth in frustration as Nebra walked up. Okay, it's my turn. Mist binding magic. Mist spider's thread. She exclaimed as a web made up of mist formed and raced towards Asta, hoping to succeed where the previous spell failed. If you think that will stop me, think again. The swordsman exclaimed as he slashed through the mist spell as well. Nebra's face showed frustration as well. As for the other knights who had not joined in, they merely watched, and they were quite impressed with Asta, a commoner able to hold his own against two royals and a noble. Such a thing was unheard of. Alekdor sucked his teeth. His strength lies in his sword. Once I remove its usage, he's no threat. He'll stop any attack from the front, but what about from behind, he muttered. Sand creation magic. Sand armored guard. Hearing the declaration of the spell, Asta prepared himself for the spell to approach him, but to his surprise, he felt something strong grab him from behind. He saw that the spell restraining him was sand-shaped like a suit of armor. Oh no, Asta, Noel exclaimed. Yuno and Keno slowly began to take out their grimoires, just in case things got too far and Asta needed assistance. Solid walked over to the sand mage. Not bad, you managed to catch him after all. This commoner needs to learn his place. He raised his hand. Noel caught on to what he was doing. Solid, please don't, you'll hurt him. Shut up or I'm making you my next target. He turned around and threatened her. This isn't going to take me down, Asta muttered as he struggled and freed one hand, his grimoire coming to him as he pulled out his short sword. Solid turned around to look at Asta. Water magic. Holy water bullet. He exclaimed as a large bullet of water appeared and he launched it at him. Ah, Asta exclaimed as he cut through the sand armor, causing it to disappear, but he wasn't able to react in time to the bullet quickly approaching him. Yuno and Kenos took out their grimoires, ready to cast a spell, but stopped as a loud voice interrupted them. They turned and saw Dante, his grimoire out. It was gray and had a blue aura, with two pairs of swords crossing on the top and bottom. In the center was a three-leaf clover. That's enough. Steel creation magic. 1,000 knives. He exclaimed as a multitude of steel knives appeared and zoomed towards the water bullet. Each one hit, weakening the attack until it was nothing more than a puddle on the ground, unable to hurt anyone. Solid was taken aback that his own squadmate stopped his attack. Dante, what are you doing? He's not the only one you have to worry about, another voice said. He turned to see Oksana, her grimoire out as well. It was teal with ghostly designs and was surrounded in a purple aura. In the center, like most other grimoires, lied the three-leaf clover. Phantom magic. Ghoul chaser. She exclaimed as a phantom appeared and slammed into the royal, sending him to the ground. Yuno was impressed. Even though Kenos and I were slowly taking out our grimoires to intercede as quickly as possible, those two were still able to react faster. They're no joke, he thought to himself. Thanks for that one. Dante, Oksana, Asta thanked them. No problem, Dante replied stoically before turning to his fallen squadmate. Solid. I don't know what problem do you honestly have with commoners. Asta is a guest, invited by the Wizard King. Regardless of status, he is to be treated with respect, especially since he was right about you three. You are horrible siblings. Huh? The mage asked. Oksana was the one to reply this time. Her face was serious. You all treat your little sister like garbage for something so menial as magic control. That's an easy problem to understand and solve, but instead of doing that, you make her feel bad. Dante and I might not see eye to eye with Kenos, but we'll never treat him like that, she explained at a surprisingly normal rate. Solid grit his teeth. We're royals, we're born strong, we don't ever need to worry about magic control, but she has to, she's a failure. No, she isn't, Oksana immediately responded. All mages have the potential to be great, just because you're weak now, doesn't mean you'll be weak forever. I must say, Oksana, I'm impressed, you managed to not blabber and actually took your time, Dante noted as Oksana smiled and playfully stuck out her tongue. I won't let you get away with this, Solid muttered as he got up, but stopped as he felt a large wave of mana. Everyone else felt it too before the sound of footsteps were heard. They all turned to see Nozzle slowly walking towards them. Asta was the only one who couldn't feel the overwhelming wave of mana, but that didn't stop a drop of sweat from falling down the side of his forehead. I can't even detect magic, but this guy is giving me a bad feeling. Dante, Nozzle said, approaching him. The steel mage turned to face his captain. The two faces were equally stoic. You called me a horrible sibling. That's right, sir, Dante replied. No fear was in his voice. I respect you as my captain, but mistreating a younger sibling over that is unacceptable. As a captain, it's your responsibility to encourage and guide others. That goes double for your sister. Don't think that just because you're a Rossiu, you can say whatever you want to me. I'm royalty, no matter how friendly your family is with the Wizard King. Don't forget you're below me, Nozzle fired back. Just like with you and Kenos, my reasoning goes deeper. Dante raised a brow. Deeper. How much deeper? A memory flashed in Nozzle's head. It was of a woman sitting on a chair by a balcony. She had long silver hair and held her stomach. The captain's mind then returned to the present. Deeper than you'll ever know, he replied as the large wave of mana vanished. I hope you're finally done, a voice said. Everyone turned to see Fugalian walking forward. While I understand exactly why some of you were fighting, we are all magic knights, we mustn't battle among each other. My apologies, Captain, Oksana said, putting her grimoire in her satchel. Fugalian walked over to her and ruffled her hair. She looked up to see a small smile on his face. It's all right, just make sure it doesn't happen again. Asta breathed a sigh of relief. It's finally over, I can get back to my food, he said, putting his swords away, but as he turned around he came face to face with a boy who was a bit taller than him. He had spiky ginger hair while the back of his hair was braided. Ah, the swordsman exclaimed, backing up and tripping. Oh, my bad, didn't mean to scare you there, the boy said, extending his hand to help Asta up. He took the hand gratefully. Just wanted to say that you were awesome, taking on 3 opponents. Thanks, my name's Asta, he introduced himself. Good to know, I'm Leopold Vermilion, the boy said back. Vermilion, you're related to Mimosa? Asta asked. Leopold nodded. Yeah, she's my cousin, and Captain Fugalian is my older brother. Wow, that's your brother, you must be strong. I am, but you are too, which makes you my rival, he said. Asta was confused. Huh, sorry Leo, but Asta already has a rival, Kenos said, walking over to them. Hey there Kenos, how have you been? Leopold greeted him. All good, he replied as they fist bumped. Asta's rival is over there, the tall golden dawn with the black hair. Leopold turned and looked at Yuno, inspecting him. He looks pretty strong too, but you can never have too many rivals now, so what do you say, Asta? Sure, I guess, the mage reluctantly replied. Awesome, he exclaimed. The tense atmosphere had finally died down. Though some people were scarred emotionally or mentally, there was no more fighting. Everyone was going back to enjoying the banquet. Kenos was especially happy that no more problems were to appear for the remainder of the day. Or so he thought. The door suddenly burst open and a cloaked capital mage ran inside. He bowed down on the ground. Wizard King. Fugalian was the first to react. The Wizard King isn't here, what's the emergency? He asked. The capital, he began, stopping midway to catch his breath. The capital is under attack. The eyes of every single person in that room tensed. The capital is under attack, by whom? The vermilion-haired captain asked once more. Not by who, by what, we're being attacked by zombies. The mage replied. Zombies, you mean dead corpses being reanimated? Kenos wondered aloud. That sounds like some type of magic. Then what are we waiting for? Let's get out there, Asta said. Just wait a moment boy, Charlotte said. The female captain of the Blue Rose Knights walked up. We need to know exactly where these zombies are. I can help with that, a Golden Dawn said, stepping forward. Ah, Siren, you can use your magic to locate them, correct? Klaus asked. Siren nodded. Yes, stone creation magic. Stone model of the world, he said as a stone formation manifested. It was in the shape of the entire capital. Wow, impressive, Kenos said. So we can see what's happening outside on this spell. That's right, Siren nodded before he pointed to 5 fires on the stone model. Those places appear to be where most destruction has happened. The north, south, east and west parts of the capital. As for the fifth one, it's not too far from us. Okay. We know where the problems are. Everybody split up into one of those sections. The safety of the people are our top priority, Fugolian said. Yes. They all exclaimed as they ran out of the hall. Bursting outside, they were taken aback by all the smoke and chaos. I'm going this way, Asta exclaimed, running in a direction. Asta, wait, Kenos exclaimed, about to run after him, but was stopped by a horde of zombies. Damn it, solar creation magic. Solar construct, twin gauntlets. He exclaimed as the gauntlets materialized. He then went loose on every zombie in his way. The other knights then began to split up too, just leaving Kenos, Zuka, Oliver, Shauna, Klaus, and Hammond, another golden dawn at that spot. Sparkle magic. Glittering star shower. Zuka exclaimed as the stars rained on the zombies, exploding on contact, but to her surprise, they got back up, despite having no arms. These zombies can't be stopped easily, they just get back up. Then we'll just have to hit them so hard that they can't get up, the solar mage replied before hearing a loud scream come from around him. That scream, I'd recognize it anywhere. It's Asta, he's in trouble, I have to find him. He said, running in the direction of the scream. Kenos. Zuka exclaimed as she turned around, but didn't notice the zombie behind her. Look out. Wood creation magic. Wood hammer. Oliver exclaimed as he jumped into the air and slammed into the zombies about to attack his squadmate. Thanks, Zuka said. No problem. Listen Zuka, you need to go and back Kenos up, he told her. But what about you and Shauna, will you be alright? She asked with concern. Don't worry about us, we can handle ourselves, and we have backup too, just go, before you lose him, he replied. Okay then. Good luck, sparkle creation magic, glittering lance. She exclaimed as she ran toward the solar mage, using her lance to impale any zombies that got close. Kenos. Kenos turned his head to see her and slowed down his pace to let her catch up. Are you joining me? She nodded. You better believe it. There's no way I'd let my friend go into danger all on his own, my squadmates can handle things back there. Good, but this won't be easy. Asta has no magic, so I can't detect him, Kenos informed her before hearing another loud scream. But thankfully, we can track the sound of his voice, let's just hope we can make it in time, Zuka said back as they increased their pace. You're going to pay for this. The two knights heard Asta exclaim, they were getting closer. He seems to be fighting someone, do you think they're the ones responsible for the attack? Zuka asked. Kenos turned to her before turning back. Only one way to find out, he replied as Asta was finally in their view. Asta, they exclaimed, running to him. Kenos, Zuka, you're here, Asta said as they caught up to him. We tracked your voice to find you, Zuka told him. Well, it seems we have some company, a voice said. The two turned to see a man with long light purple hair. He wore a tattered cape over black trousers and long pants, and a patch was over his right eye. Who is this guy? Kenos asked. Asta angrily grit his teeth. Say hello to the mage responsible for the attack, he replied as their eyes widened. That's right, the name's Raid Spirito, he introduced himself. Zuka looked at him, or more specifically, his eye patch. Her eyes widened again when she noticed the design on it. That's the exact same eye design on the cloak of that spark mage, she realized. Why are you doing this? Kenos asked. What could some rogue mage hope to accomplish by doing this? That's where you're wrong boy, I'm no rogue mage, Raids replied. I act on behalf of a group. A group? What kind of group? It was Asta who asked this time. We call ourselves the Eye of the Midnight Sun, he replied. Our goal is to bathe this kingdom in destruction and chaos, and I think I'll begin by killing the three of you. 493 Chapter 13. At the Capital Part 3. Chapter 13. At the Capital Part 3. Hey there readers, just wanted to say something. I was scrolling through my reviews and saw one that asked if I could update more often. I'm a junior in high school just trying to get through this pandemic. As such, I can get quite busy, but I will do my utmost best to get a chapter in every week. This is Thanksgiving week, so I'm for sure going to post another one before this week ends. Thank you for all the support. With that out of the way, enjoy the newest chapter. The Eye of the Midnight Sun. Bathe the kingdom in destruction and chaos. The three magic knights thought in unison. Raids saw them standing in silence and grinned evilly. What's this? Are the magic knights scared? Kenos pointed a finger at him. You wish. We won't let you succeed. If it's true that you're the mage responsible for the zombies, then all we have to do is defeat you and it'll be over. That's where you're wrong, boy, Raids replied. You see, I'm not the only mage here. There are others. As for where some of them are at the time, that I don't know. The three gulped. There were more of them at the capital. If just one mage can create enough zombies to span the entire royal capital, how strong were all the others? He said there were others, so can that mean? Zuka thought. Hey you, by any chance, do you know a girl with long purple hair who uses spark magic? Long purple hair. Spark magic. You mean Annalise? Raids said before his facial expression changed. What a minute, you're the mage who roughed her up, aren't you? It wasn't just me, my squadmates were there too, and for your information, she attacked us first. Zuka exclaimed. Doesn't matter, you're going to pay, go and kill them, my loyal corpses. The mage exclaimed as zombies came and surrounded the three. These things again, Kenos muttered, putting on his ring as the light aura surrounded him. His grimoire then came up to him. Solar creation magic. Solar construct. Twin blades. Sparkle creation magic. Glittering lance. Zuka joined in as she equipped her signature weapon. Asta gripped the sword in his hand. Okay, let's do this, Kenos, Zuka. He exclaimed. Right. The two exclaimed back as they ran in different directions, striking the zombies in their way. Kenos slashed through zombie after zombie, aiming at their chests as that was the quickest place to target, but it didn't take long for him or the others to notice that they were getting up after every strike. He grit his teeth. Raids laughed. Having trouble there? Well, you should. My corpses get up after every hit, that's the power of my wraith magic. They keep getting up after every strike, so no matter how many times we hit them, they'll get up. Wait, I have an idea, but it's risky, the solar mage thought. Take this. He exclaimed as he used both of his blades on one zombie, but instead of aiming at its chest, he went for its arms, cutting them off. He went for the arms, what's he thinking? Asta and Zuka thought, seeing what Kenos did. Now for the next part, solar creation magic, rain of solar daggers. He exclaimed as the daggers fell on all zombies in his vicinity, falling on the ground. And now for the last part. He continued as he went to the zombie whose arms he cut off, and cut off its legs. He saw its body still moving, but without its limbs, it couldn't stand up. Raids. Eyes widened. What the? Zuka and Asta's eyes showed realization as they saw Kenos' plan. Not bad. If we can't beat them quickly, we can stop their movement. Nice plan, Asta said. Wait, I don't have a blade spell. My lance isn't designed to cut, Zuka said. And my blades are dull. They can't do massive cutting damage, Asta added. Kenos looked at them. Okay then, catch, he exclaimed, throwing both of his blades at them, each catching one. He then equipped another blade. Now we're all set. They then went on the attack, using Kenos' strategy. Only 5 minutes passed before all the zombies around them were on the ground, their limbs scattered, unable to stand. What was that about killing us? Zuka exclaimed as the solar blades she and Asta had disappeared. Raids grit his teeth. You just got lucky, but that luck is about to end. Behold, Wraith magic. Number 4 Jimmy. He exclaimed as a portal appeared on the ground and a thing came up from it. It was another zombie, but this one had the appearance of a tall man with long arms, its body covered in bandages, and purple spheres floating around it. That one looks a lot stronger, Kenos noted. It does because it is. Meet a member of my greatest weapons, the Number Corpse series, Number 4 Jimmy, Raids explained. As well as being one of my spells, each member of the series has their own attribute. As for Jimmy, the Wraith mage pointed at the three, almost as if on cue. Jimmy launched the purple spheres at them. Kenos and Zuka managed to evade all the ones that came their way. Asta was able to do the same, until 3 spheres came at him and hit his right arm, left knee, and left cheek. Asta, the two exclaimed, but Asta didn't look like he was hurt. Huh, the swordsman asked aloud. The attack felt like just a small scratch. So is that all you go? He began, before dropping to one knee, suddenly feeling weak. I wouldn't be so quick to taunt if I were you. Why don't you look at your wounds again? Raids said. Asta did as he said and widened his eyes at what he saw. A large amount of blood was oozing out of his arm and knee. He then touched his left cheek and felt blood dripping there too. What did you do? I did say each member of my corpse series has their own attribute. Well, Jimmy's is curse magic. Even the slightest scratch will cause massive bleeding. The attack itself might not hurt a lot, but it doesn't matter since you'll bleed out instead. Kenos grit his teeth. Damn you. Solar magic. Sunbeam ray. He exclaimed, firing at Jimmy. However, the curse corpse merely crossed his arms, blocking the attack. Sparkle creation magic. Shimmering bow. Zuka exclaimed, firing an arrow, but that was blocked too. I told you already, didn't I? The Number Corpse series are much stronger than my average corpses. Those attacks of yours won't do anything, Raids said. Kenos bit his tongue. He's right. Sunbeam ray won't cut it. I need something stronger. Should I use Solar Cross Destroyer? It should have enough power to take it down. He thought to himself before deciding. Nah. While it is the best option, it uses up a sizable amount of mana, and right now, I have to focus on preserving mana. Doing something too reckless could take me out of this fight early, and we don't even know the full extent of the threat yet. Go Jimmy, curse those other 2 pests. Raids exclaimed as Jimmy launched the spheres at just Kenos and Zuka. I got this, Keno said, ready to cast an Amaterasu's guard spell, but Zuka got in front of him. What, Zuka? Leave this to me, I've changed since our team up in Realzu, just watch, she answered as the spheres got closer. Sparkle creation magic. Glittering barrier. She exclaimed as sparkles came out of her grimoire, the same that would condense into her weapons, but this time, light gathered around it, forming a barrier which protected them from the cursed spheres. The barrier then fell, Keno's looking surprised. A defense spell. But I thought you didn't know any. I didn't. Shauna is a support mage. We and Oliver were on a mission a week ago and she totally killed it. Seeing her do that reminded me of what you told me in Realzu, about how it's important to know more than one spell type, so I asked Shauna to help me and I was able to learn my first defense spell, the Sparkle Mage explained. Awesome, I'll be honest, I didn't think you'd take my words to heart, he admitted. Why wouldn't I? It's advice from a friend, and good advice at that, she said back. If you two are done chit-chatting, I think it's time for you to die. The Wraith Mage exclaimed as more zombies appeared, surrounding the three once again. Shit, how many of those does he have? Zuka wondered aloud. I don't know, but we have a problem this time around, Keno's replied before stating. Asta won't stop bleeding due to Jimmy's curse, meaning he'll slowly run out of strength, and then there's Jimmy himself, he can just send those curse things at us while we're fighting. Zuka lightly nodded with understanding. I see, so is there any way to solve it? Keno's nodded back. There is. We need reinforcements. Just then, as if the heavens honored Keno's words, a stream of flames passed by them, incinerating half of the zombies. The three turned to see Leopold, Fugolian, and Noel not too far away from them. Well damn, that was some oddly good timing, Zuka muttered. I knew I'd find you here, my rival. Leopold exclaimed. But it seems you're having some trouble, mind if we lend a hand? That would be awesome, Asta replied as he gripped his sword and faced raids. I just caught my second wind, I might still be bleeding, but I'm not going to give up. Fine by me, you'll just end up killing yourself, go Jimmy. Raids exclaimed as Jimmy launched more spheres. This time, however, Asta managed to evade them all. Those shots follow a pattern, you won't catch me again. The magicless mage exclaimed, running towards Jimmy before jumping into the air. Meanwhile, the others were taking down the zombies. Let's see how you like this, flame magic, spiral flame. Leopold exclaimed as he fired 2 tornadoes of fire from his hands at nearby zombies, incinerating them. Flame magic. Sol Linea. Fugolian exclaimed as a sphere of flame appeared by his chest. He concentrated it before firing off a straight blue beam at the zombies in front of him, piercing through their chests before their bodies became incinerated from the inside out. Incredible. Since the two of them use flame magic, they don't have to implement my strategy. The flames burn the bodies anyways. Their attribute has the advantage here. Good to know, Keno's noted. Awesome. Their numbers are dropping like flies, you two can finish this. Zuka exclaimed, impressed by the two brothers as well. Fugolian stepped forward. I'll finish them, flame creation magic. Leo Rugians. He exclaimed as fire gathered behind him, taking the shape of a lion. It then released a huge blast of flames from its mouth, thanks to the huge amount of area it could cover. Every zombie was hit. Once the flames vanished, the others were surprised to see that there wasn't a trace of them, not even a pile of their ashes. That should take care of that problem, the vermilion-haired captain said before noticing someone at the corner of his eye. It was Noelle. Ever since the three arrived there, she just stood there, watching as the others fought. He could see a look in her eyes, a look of uncertainty and despair. He walked over to her. Is something the matter, Noelle? No, it's just that you and Leopold did a good job. There was nothing I needed to do, or could do for that matter, she replied, faking a normal voice, before letting the sadness come out at the end. I see, is this about what your siblings told you? He asked. Noelle didn't verbally respond, but gave a light nod. Fugolian then raised his hand before dropping it on Noelle's head in a chopping motion. Ow, that hurt. The water mage rubbed her head. Don't worry about what they told you. Do you remember what Oksana said after Solid called you a failure? He asked. What she said? Noelle wondered, thinking back to what the Phantom Mage had said in her defense. She said that just because someone's weak now, doesn't mean they'll be weak forever. Correct. There's no problem in being weak. The problem lies in staying weak, which begs the question. Are you going to stay as you are, in fear of your family, or are you going to become stronger and prove to them that they were wrong, that you're not a failure? Fugolian asked before walking away. Noelle wasn't too sure what to say. This was the first time one of her relatives openly encouraged her. I'm going to be strong. Then, I won't live in fear of them anymore. After all, I'm royalty. I am Noelle Silva. Fugolian kept walking, and though Noelle couldn't see it, a slight smile was on his face. Back with the other mages, they had split up throughout the capital, battling zombies everywhere, while doing their best to protect the citizens. Damn it, Is there no end to these things? Oliver groaned, smashing zombie after zombie with his hammer. I know, but we have to keep trying. We're starting to dwindle their numbers, Klaus responded. Steel creation magic. Spiral drill shower. At his call, the drills fell on the zombies, ripping apart the limbs of some as they did. Klaus grinned. Nice. I got this bunch, Hammond said, walking calmly to a horde of zombies, his grimoire floating in front of him. Glass creation magic. Vern Fleur. He exclaimed, raising his hands as sharp glass rose from the ground, trapping them. Wood magic. Gale of splinters. Oliver exclaimed, firing them off, before turning his head. How are things on your end, Shauna? Not too bad. My magic isn't really built for this, but I'll do my best. I can't let you three do all the work. Illusion magic. Creature of the unknown plus illusionary multitude. Shauna replied before exclaiming as a group of red creatures appeared, tearing apart nearby zombies before vanishing. A double spell. Impressive, and here I thought only Yuno could do something like that, Klaus stated before a thought came to his head. Speaking of Yuno, I wonder how he's doing. Take this, wind creation magic. Swift White Hawk. Yuno was doing just fine. He and Mimosa had teamed up to cover the west area with some other mages. While he was taking out the zombies, Mimosa had brought the nearby citizens to safety and began healing whatever wounds they sustained. Mimosa, are those all of the people? He exclaimed. The plant mage nodded. Yes, what about you? How are you doing? I'm managing, but these zombies just keep coming, Yuno replied, catching his breath. Bell flew out. Yuno, you're starting to tire out, you need to rest for a while. I can't, Bell. I'm the only mage defending this group of people as well as Mimosa. Resting is out of the option, the wind mage said back before hearing a sound. He saw hordes of zombies still coming, but this time, the sound also came from behind him. He turned and saw another horde. Oh no, they're coming from both sides. Mimosa exclaimed. She quickly began scanning around, looking for a place for the people to escape. She then noticed a small alleyway. There's no way all the people could get through that. There are some who are injured. Yuno flew down to her. Then I'll just take them both down. Mimosa looked uncertain. Are you sure? Yuno nodded. I have to. Just wait there, Yuno, Bell interrupted. If you want to take them down fast, you're going to have to use my power. Okay then, let's do, the wind mage was about to say, before hearing voices coming from the alleyway. Don't worry, we'll bring you to safety, one voice said as they emerged from the alleyway. The two mages' eyes widened as they saw who was there. Dante and Oksana. On Dante's back was an old lady, and holding Oksana's hand was a little boy. Dante and Oksana, Mimosa said. The two ran to them. Mimosa and four-leaf clover boy, are we glad to have run into you, Oksana said. My name is Yuno, the wind mage corrected her as Oksana quickly apologized. You'll be safe now, Mimosa is a healer, Dante said, turning to the plant mage. This old lady broke her leg, her grandson is fine though. Thank you very much, Sir Dante, Lady Oksana, the lady said as Dante set her down gently. She was then encased in Mimosa's flower cradle, her grandson sitting down beside her. How are things going here? Oksana asked before catching a glimpse of the two hordes of zombies, coming in from both sides. Ooh, not that good. Dante walked over to Yuno. You look tired, mind if we take over for you so you can rest? No, I'll be just, Yuno was about to say before Bell flew in front of him. Yes, your help would be much appreciated, the spirit interrupted. Bell, Yuno muttered as she turned to him. You belong to me, Yuno, and I belong to you. As such, I can't let you go past your limits. Rest for now, then you can get back into it, okay? Yuno sighed. Fine then. Bell smiled. Thanks. And for the record, Bell, only you belong to me, not the other way around, the wind mage fired with a look of comedic indifference. Oh come on, why do you have to ruin that perfect moment by saying that? The spirit exclaimed, pulling on Yuno's cheek. Yuno pushed her away before turning to the two siblings. I'm counting on you too. And you won't be disappointed, that much I can assure you, Dante said back as he and Oksana walked on different ends, each facing their own horde of zombies. These zombies have caused quite the trouble, wouldn't you say, and they don't go down that easily. Oksana grinned. Right, you are brother, so I say we give them everything we got, she said as Dante nodded. It's time to show you the pride of the Rossiu house. The two siblings exclaimed together, taking out their grimoires. I'll begin. Steel creation magic. Rampaging iron wyvern. Dante exclaimed as a large wyvern of steel appeared. It flew towards the horde, rotating its body as steel blades shot off, cutting off every zombie's arms. The wyvern then stopped spinning before crashing right into the horde, using its sharp steel wings to cut them in half. Impressive as always, but it's time to show you what I got. Phantom creation magic. Wyvern specter. Oksana exclaimed as a ghostly gray wyvern appeared. It flew towards the horde of zombies, a ghostly wind accompanying it. The wyvern swirled around the horde, the phantasmal wind carrying them into the air before the wyvern flew into them, only dust fell to the ground. Yuno and Mimosa gasped. The two hordes of zombies had been eliminated almost instantly. Those spells are on a completely different level, so that's the power of the wyvern spells those of the Rossiu house can wield. These two really are no joke, Yuno thought as a drop of sweat fell down the side of his face. We're not going to lose, the ones who caused this are going to pay. Dante and Oksana exclaimed together. Take this, Asta exclaimed, descending on Jimmy, his sword cutting through the powerful corpse. No, Jimmy, Raids exclaimed before angrily turning to Asta. Now I'm really mad. Wraith magic. Number 2 Alfred. At his call, the portal from before appeared and another corpse came up. This one had the appearance of a man. He didn't have any legs, his entire body was covered in bandages while his arms were restricted by a straitjacket, and a tattered cloth was around his neck. Fear the power of Alfred. Unlike Jimmy, his attribute is lightning. The Wraith mage exclaimed as a wave of electricity surrounded Alfred, it then shot bolts at Asta. Lightning. So it's the same as Lux, Asta said, just managing to dodge the attack, soon dropping to his knees from the continual blood loss. Asta, Kenos yelled, running to him. Not so fast, you're not interfering. Wraith magic. Number 3 David. Raids continued as another corpse appeared. This one was a lot bulkier than the previous ones, it was made up of baggy clothes. Keep them back, David, here's some backup. More zombies then appeared behind the bulky corpse. Damn it, Kenos muttered as David shot tendrils of muddy water at him, to which he evaded. He then looked at his ring and saw it lost one outline. Zuka, Leopold, let's take them down. Noel, back us up if you can. The others nodded as they ran into battle. I'm not going to give up, I'll stop you. Asta exclaimed as he charged at Alfred, but the corpse quickly dodged the attack before launching another strike of lightning. The swordsman quickly used his sword to block it. He turned to Raids, pointing his sword at him. Stop being a coward, come here and fight, you're hiding behind your zombies. Raids chuckled. So what if I hide behind my zombies? They're my own spells. There's nothing wrong with having something else do the fighting, especially when in the case of the number corpse series, I had to kill each of them to make them my corpse. Asta's eyes widened. Why you killed them? Yup. I had some help, but a kill is a kill, he replied. And now he'll finish you. Asta grit his teeth as he knelt down again. He wasn't sure how much longer he could keep going before his body gave out to blood loss. Alfred could float, which meant he could easily get out of his range, and his bolts were capable of keeping him at bay. He couldn't even get any help as they were being held off by David and more zombies. I can't give up. I need to find a way to beat him. Just then, a powerful stream of fire came from behind Asta and engulfed Alfred in flames, catching Raids by complete surprise. Alfred, he exclaimed as he watched another corpse burn to ash. That was easier than I thought. A voice spoke. Asta turned around as he and Raids saw Fugolian calmly walking to them. He stopped and lent a hand to Asta. Can you stand? Asta took it with his available hand. Thanks, but I was hoping to have defeated it. My apologies. I know how it must feel to be robbed of the chance to defeat a foe, Fugolian said. And I guess I owe you another apology. I will admit, when I saw you at the entrance exam looking for a squad to join, you were nothing more but a commoner with extreme strength. I didn't think you had what it took to be a magic knight, but I was wrong. It seems that Yami has a better eye for talent than I, Fugolian explained. Oh, thank you, but I don't hold anything against you or the other captains. I'm actually glad to be a part of the Black Bulls, Asta said. That's good to hear. Oh, and by the way, you said you wanted to be the Wizard King, right? Fugolian asked. That's right, Asta replied. I see, then that means that you're my rival as well, the captain stated. Oh, then I won't lose to you either. Asta exclaimed. But damn, I'm getting a lot of new rivals today. You, Flame Man, you just put yourself on my hit list, prepare to die. Raids exclaimed as the two magic knights faced him. Meet the second strongest member of the Number Corps series, Wraith Magic, Number 1 Carl. The portal from before appeared and Carl emerged. It had the appearance of a thin man. He was wrapped in bandages. He wore a white clerical attire which was adorned in diamond ornaments. Carl is a powerful mix of offense and defense. With his barrier magic, he can withstand any strike, and he is capable of firing off projectiles too. That is quite impressive, Fugolian said. Stand back, Asta. You're still losing blood. I'll take over this fight. You don't need to worry. I can keep fighting. Asta exclaimed, running forward before Fugolian chopped him to the ground. Ow. What did you do that for? He asked, rubbing his head. Don't be reckless. You must remain calm. As a magic knight, remaining calm is the key to making sound decisions as well as coming up with new plans, the vermilion-haired captain told him. Making sound decisions and coming up with new plans. Hey, wait a minute, I have an idea, Asta thought before striking himself with his sword. Just as he did, the bleeding stopped. What the? Raids said, obviously confused. How did you do that? This is an anti-magic sword, capable of negating and deflecting magic. I just realized that Jimmy's curses were made of magic. I had what I needed right here all along, but I only found out when I stayed calm and thought about it. You were right, Fugolian, Asta explained. Thank you, Asta, but my words still stand. I'll fight Carl, you just stand back, the captain instructed. All right then. Good luck, Captain, Asta said, backing up as Fugolian advanced. Raids grinned. You may be a captain, but I don't think that even you can get through Carl's defensive magic. He exclaimed as Carl formed a barrier. Tell me, mage, what's your name? Fugolian asked quite calmly. My name. Well, why not? This will be your final fight. You should know the name of your killer. You may call me Raids Spirito. I see. Well, Raids, I'll show you right now how you shouldn't underestimate the power of a magic knight captain, Fugolian said before stopping. Flame magic. Sol Linea. He shot the blue beam directly at Carl, and to the surprise of Asta and Raids, the beam had effortlessly pierced the barrier and struck Carl right in the forehead. The barrier then fell and Carl dropped to the ground, burning to ashes. No way. That was supposed to be one of his stronger zombies, and Fugolian didn't even look like he tried, Asta muttered. Well, what can I expect? He is a captain. No, that's impossible. Carl's defense was penetrated so easily. What are you? Raids exclaimed, backing up as Fugolian began walking again. I told you, did I not? Don't underestimate a captain. Now it's time for you to give up. This fight is over. No, it isn't. Protect me, David. Raids exclaimed, looking to find the bulky corpse. He then saw it, continuing to fight the others. Those zombies weren't too hard to take out, but this one is really troublesome. Flame magic. Spiral flame. Leopold exclaimed, firing the flame at David. The corpse retaliated by shooting muddy water, extinguishing the mage's flames. There we go. An open shot. Sparkle creation magic. Shimmering bow. Zuka exclaimed, firing an arrow, getting a hit in, but David didn't seem affected too much. The sparkle mage sucked her teeth. None of our attacks are doing enough damage to take it down. We need something stronger. Something stronger, Keno's thought before turning to the two. Hey, I do have a stronger attack, but it uses up a good amount of mana. If I go down for some time, will you two have my back? You know it, Leopold replied. Of course, what are friends for? Zuka added. But what exactly do you have? Let's just say you aren't the only one who learned a new spell over the week, the solar mage replied, turning to face David. This is the end of you, solar magic, solar cross destroyer. At the declaration of the spell, the two X's appeared in front of Keno's. Zuka and Leopold watched as one of the X's divided into two lines and flew through the sides before crashing into David, immobilizing him, leaving him unable to use his mud tendrils. Keno's then used the other X to release the powerful magic blast, completely destroying the corpse. A smile crossed the mage's face before he went down on one knee. What? That was an awesome spell, Keno's. Zuka and Leopard exclaimed together. Sunbeam Ray was pretty powerful, but that spell blows it out of the water, Zuka continued as the two went to Keno's and helped him up. Thanks, you two, the solar mage then looked behind him. And it seems that Asta and Fugolian have taken down the other threat. I guess it's safe to say we've come one step closer to ending this. No, even David, I can't believe I lost 4 members of the Number Corps series in just one day, Raids muttered. It's over, Raids, your attack on the capital ends here, flame binding magic, Leo Palma. Fugolian exclaimed as paws of fire restrained the Wraith Mage, his grimoire dropping to the floor. His grimoire. Keno's wondered as Zuka and Leopold helped him over and he picked it up. It's pretty thin. Hey, don't touch that. Raids exclaimed. And don't open it. Don't open it. Keno's repeated what Raids said to him, but he opened it anyway. I said don't. Huh, was all Keno's could say. There's only one page in here, everything you did was just a page worth of spells. No, Raids exclaimed. What's your problem? We're not going to take it. Both it and you are to be taken into custody, Keno's told him. My grimoire only has 1 page, you're all going to look down at me, he said. Look down on you? What do you mean? You gave us one heck of a fight, Zuka remarked. And speaking of this fight, tell us, Raids, why are you doing this? Fugolian then asked. I used to be a magic knight, of the Purple Orcus, but my squadmates and my captain looked down on me because they didn't understand my magic, Raids replied. Keno's eyes slightly widened. They didn't understand. Yeah, they looked down on me because they were afraid of me, they feared what I could do, so I was kicked out. I then swore revenge on this entire kingdom, and even now, I won't give up until I have. I know how you feel. Raids looked at Keno's. What? I said I know how you feel, to be looked at differently for something you have that others can't understand. I sort of feel like you're what I'd become if it had gone too far. I won't look down on you, you may be the enemy, but I won't do that, the solar mage said. But regardless of how people looked at you, blaming this entire kingdom and attacking its capital is no excuse. No offense there, but I didn't ask for your sympathy. What I want is for all of you to die. Raids exclaimed. And that's what will happen. A silent voice spoke. Raids heard it coming from his ear. As it turns out, he was wearing a communication device on his ear the whole time. It's time to begin the next phase, the voice spoke again. Back with Yuno, Mimosa, and the Rossiu siblings, more zombies had gathered, but Dante and Oksana's onslaught didn't let up. There we go, Oksana said as another horde fell. She saw that there were more, but suddenly, they stopped and fell to the ground, beginning to wither away. What in the world? She wondered before turning around and seeing the zombies Dante was fighting did the same. The two siblings walked to the Golden Dawn mages. What exactly happened? Dante asked. Not too sure, but I think whoever cast the spell has been stopped, Mimosa replied. So, I'm guessing it's all over, Yuno said, confirming what they were all potentially thinking. Alright, we won, Oksana cheered, jumping up into the air. Now we should take the citizens and return them to their homes. Dante let out a small smile. Good idea. Let's hurry. We should, he began before a mysterious purple substance sprouted from the ground, quickly surrounding them. Thanks to his wind magic, Yuno was able to quickly evade the substance, but he wasn't able to react in time as the others were engulfed and eventually disappeared. What just happened? He wondered. All over the capital, magic knights were getting engulfed by the substance and disappearing. Then somewhere around what looked like a field, the substance appeared again and all the knights were there. What just happened? Shauna asked as she and Oliver saw other magic knights, even some captains. I think we were just teleported away, Nozzle replied. And by the looks of it, a fair distance from the capital. Wait a minute, Zuka isn't here, neither is Kenos, Oliver stated. Weren't they going after Asta? Klaus asked as he nodded. But Asta isn't here, neither is Leopold or Captain Fugolian, Oksana spoke up. Noelle isn't here too, do you think they're all together? Mimosa asked. Probably, but the real question to ask is why weren't they teleported, Charlotte replied. Back with the six in the capital. Something feels strange, it's almost as if the mana of the other knights have just vanished, Fugolian stated. That's right, and you'll share the same fate. Raids exclaimed as the substance began to engulf Fugolian. Zuka's eyes widened. That looks exactly like the portal that appeared after our fight with Annalise, which means that Valto's guy must be close by. What is that? Leopold asked. Brother. Don't worry, Leo. I don't know where this thing leads, either to the others or somewhere else, but I'll be fine. Have faith in your captain, and even more in your big brother, Fugolian said. Alright then, if you see an enemy on the other side, kick their ass. The flame mage exclaimed. You got it, Fugolian gave a thumbs up before disappearing. I've seen that type of spell before. During my mission last week, that was spatial magic, he was teleported somewhere, Zuka said. Teleported, Leopold muttered. Hey, Zuka, can you keep hold of Kenos on your own? Zuka nodded. Sure. But why? Leopold burst forward as Raids was released from the binding spell, the magic knight grabbed on his collar. I know my brother will be fine wherever he is, but I still wanna know, how did you do that and where did you take him? Kenos saw Leopold questioning the mage, he then turned to Zuka. Thanks, Zuka, but I'll be fine for now. Solar recovery magic. Healing rays of the dawn, he said as his body glowed orange, he then deactivated his ring. Okay then, Zuka said, putting him down and walking to Leopold. Meanwhile, Noelle walked over to Asta. Hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, but I'm worried about Captain Fugolian, he replied. I know, but you heard what he said, he'll be fine, she said in an attempt to reassure him. I just hope you're right. Wait a minute there, Leopold. Raids didn't teleport your brother away, Zuka said. Don't forget, mages only have one attribute, and his is Wraith. Before you got here, he did say more mages were here, so I'm guessing that Valtos is here too. Leopold looked confused. Valtos. You know our spatial mage too? Well, of course you would. He's the one who saved Annalise, Raids said, the sparkle mage firing a quick glare at him. Yeah, you're right. Valtos is here. He teleported every magic knight in the capital, all except for you five. Actually, he's right here in this very vicinity. I wonder if you can find him. He's here. Asta muttered, wondering where the mage could be. He closed his eyes and began thinking. Where could he be? He's here, so he's hiding. But hiding where? Can he possibly be on the roof of a building, hiding behind an alleyway? Is Raids even telling us the truth? Ow, all this thinking is making my head hurt. I just need a. Suddenly, as the swordsman was thinking, he heard something. It was faint, but there, it sounded like a breath. He opened his eyes and turned to find where he heard it, only to see a pile of remaining corpses. That's odd. I didn't notice that pile there before, but regardless, I know what I heard, he said, turning to Leopold. Hey, Blast one of your flame spells at that pile. Leopold turned and saw the pile of corpses. What for? Just do it. I think we found our culprit, Asta replied as Leo did so, firing off a spiral flame. The corpses began igniting and withering away, but just then, a figure jumped out from among them. No way. He was right. The thought went through everyone's heads as the figure landed on the ground, revealing his face, which was an odd shade of gray. He had gray hair, and there were 2 straight lines going down the sides of his face. Valtos, I presume, Zuka said. Correct. We meet again, Aqua dear knight, Valtos said before turning to Asta. I must congratulate you, boy. You were able to locate me. Asta's face showed anger. I don't want your congratulations, just tell me where you took Captain Fugolian. Captain Fugolian. Well, if you want him so badly, you can have him. We don't need him anymore, Valtos said as he raised a hand, forming a portal in the air. Fugolian then dropped from it. Brother, you're back. Did you kick anybody's ass? I want to hear all about, Leopold was saying, but stopped as he got close to his brother. Fugolian was missing an arm. Blood oozed out from where it used to be, and his eyes, they looked nearly lifeless. Right beside him was his grimoire, slowly cracking away. Brother, Leopold muttered, his eyes widening in horror, tears falling down from his eyes. The others witnessed the same sight and were just as horrified. They tried to contain their urge to scream, but they couldn't, they just couldn't. Ah.